Is that star-spangled banner yet waving o'er the land of the free? And the home of the
Grace and peace, you guys. Welcome back to Unshakable with April Chapman, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. I'm your host, April Chapman, and welcome to the show. Happy Wednesday. I know we are about 30 minutes late, you guys, but there was a mix-up in communication. I thought that Linda B, shout out to Chat With Me, Linda B, over here on YouTube. I thought she was going to premiere our interview, and I didn't want the audience split. So I was like, you know what, no big deal. I will push my live stream back about 30 minutes. But come to find out, she dropped it like a regular video, so we can just go and watch it anytime we want to. So if you missed my interview with Chat With Me, Linda B, after our live stream or tomorrow, add it to your watch later list. I encourage you to go and watch it. Linda B is an amazing Christian content creator right here on the same side of the YouTube suburbs. And her and I are laboring, bringing the news to you and cultural commentary. And we're doing it because we love this country and we love God and we love his word. And so I always want to encourage and co-labor alongside other creators who are doing the exact same thing that I am doing and introduce my audience to someone that they may or may not have listened to before. So shout out to everybody watching us on YouTube or Rumble or X. I don't know if Facebook is cooperating tonight, but that's just more the reason for you to join the party over here, right here on YouTube. I also want to shout out to our newest moderator, Miss Amethyst Angel. Girl, I don't know what took me so long, what I was thinking. I thought you were already a coveted wrench holder over here. So I just wanted to publicly acknowledge how you have been supporting this channel and you show up for me all the time. And I just wanted to return the favor by giving you a moderator wrench. I'm so grateful to all of the moderators who come into the live stream and try to maintain order and civility. And sometimes y'all get a little froggy with the wrench. I'm like, listen, let people disagree. Let them disagree. If they get a little spicy in the chat, long as they're not cussing people out and using all kinds of, derogatory language, I think it's okay to let opposing viewpoints stand. I do. But I'm not going to lie. The reason why I have moderators, because I can't monitor the chat, and I trust you guys to do it. So if my moderators are a little strict, it is because they understand just how wild and crazy these live streams can get. So do not take it personal. If they time you out, it's because they're trying to train you in righteousness, okay? They're helping you out with your own sanctification. So give them some grace, because Brian L. Chess, he will absolutely give you that work and whip up on you with the wrench, and you really don't want him to do it. So govern yourself accordingly. It's okay to disagree. I welcome the disagreement. We just can't tolerate, disrespect, okay? We're trying to build something edifying and good over here. So what I want to do, I want to talk about, you saw on the thumbnail, we're talking about the NAACP tonight. We're talking about them because the NAACP has tried to position itself as this organization that was founded to advance, right, the civil rights of Black Americans. But now We are watching them move really well. It ain't really strange. It's how they've always operated. I saw some people in the live chat basically call them out saying they doing what they always have been doing. Now we're watching them. They are lobbying the United States Senate to defund immigration enforcement for the benefit of the non-citizens, i.e. the illegals, right? The illegal immigrants. They're not doing it for Black families or for Black voters or just Americans in general. They're not even interested in advocating for the Black neighborhoods that are drowning in crime as a result of a lot of this illegal activity. Ladies and gentlemen, these people are not confused or deceived or just these humanitarian do-gooders. The NAACP, they've done more than just lose their way. These people are demons of mass delusion. And I know that is very sharp criticism, and I meant it just how I said it. Okay, now we all would agree that Democrats are indeed stupid. Okay, I say it all the time. I call them low IQ. I call them deranged, perverted. I mean, and if you watch Vince Everett Ellison, you already know what he thinks of the left. But one thing we can't say about Democrats is that they're not strategic. They're very strategic. You have to understand that the Democrat plantation, they need a new labor force. And so they're always gonna go where they can find new useful idiots to be their allies and their partners in their wicked deeds. And so now they've run out to find a new group of electoral serfs. And the Democrats are always willing to find a Black organization to partner with to hold and crack the whip, right? They like, who can we find to be one of our leading overseers? So they've tapped the NAACP, and now the NAACP is trying to frame what they're doing as justice. So tonight we're going to expose these melanated maggots, and I want to get into it. So what we've learned that the NAACP has officially launched this national campaign, and y'all, they've called it Dry Ice. And I was like, oh, y'all so cute. Now, this don't have nothing to do with chemistry or anything like that. This Dry Ice campaign is a political campaign, and the goal of it is to urge the U.S. Senate to block federal funding for U.S. immigration and customs enforcement, affectionately known as ICE. And how I came up with this, I was on the phone with Vince Everett Ellison, my client, and we have these weekly meetings to determine what are we going to talk about on our show this week. You know, I kind of help him. We have a very different recording schedule, and I didn't even know this was a thing. They had a press conference, and they released a what do you call it? A press release just yesterday on this. And essentially, what they want to do is they want to defund immigration enforcement so that the southern border can effectively remain open, like wide open, and that federal law can remain selectively enforced. And I was like, wow, now we got the colored communists really trying to be real clever and real Weasley. So here's what I want you guys to notice. I need y'all to notice the rebrand. They didn't call this an appeal to abolish ICE or open borders now, or just to come right out and say, hey, we're trying to help the Democrats import a new voting class. No, they labeled this campaign Dry Ice. I'm telling y'all, the left will always wrap lawlessness in some sort of civil rights costume in order to pull the wool over your eyes to make you think that they are fighting for justice. But here's one little problem, you guys. The NAACP, they're not expecting Black folks to think in proper categories. You know, I use that terminology a lot over here. I say, let's be sober-minded and think in proper categories, meaning you can't conflate one thing with the other. For example, we've seen a lot of these protesters conflate categories, and they want you to think that it is wrong and sinful and anti-American to hold the position that we must be a nation of laws and that borders are biblical. They are always trying to make the Bible-believing Christian think that enforcement of our immigration laws is incompatible with the testimony of Scripture. But that is not true. NAACP is doing the same thing. They don't want you to question or to try to determine using logic and reasoning or observable reality to look at how this open border illegal immigration situation is causing adverse harm to America. They don't want you to question or to even try to determine the adverse ways that illegal immigration is impacting you, the taxpayer. Remember, civil rights is supposed to be about citizenship. And it's important for us to understand that it is necessary and righteous for a nation to have borders because borders define what makes us a nation, right? Like China is China because it's not North Korea and it's not Taiwan and it's not Vietnam or Malaysia. It's China. Why? It's got a defined border. It has its own laws. It has its own culture, its own way of life. Why is America, or why should America be viewed any different? The NAACP, they don't want you to think this through. They don't want you to know that lawlessness always destroys the poor first. But they want you. They want you to jump on their bandwagon simply because they've labeled it as civil rights. Remember, the left is real weaselly with their words, and they will weaponize their words against you. So what do? Our counter action is to wear down the wicked with our words. And so, I am not, as y'all already know, I am not a big fan of the NAACP at all. I call it the National Association for the Abolishment of Colored People, especially the way they support abortion. But if we're going to have an honest discussion, I at least need to admit that when I look at the NAACP in the early days, they did fight against poll taxes and literacy tests as it relates to voting rights. And they were on the forefront of segregation and the disenfranchisement of Black Americans. But today, that is not who these people are. These fools are out here fighting ICE. Not gang violence, not your kids being stuck in a failing school. They don't give a darn about Taquayshawn or Shaquana and them not being able to read. They don't care about fatherlessness, and they are absolutely crickets. You know this when it comes to abortion. In fact, they will champion any sort of initiative that gives you the right to kill and murder more babies. They're like, yay, more womb assassination for the Blacks. Their entire existence, if you analyze their platform and what they claim to represent, you're like, none of this is going to advance the coloreds. This is actually going to destroy the coloreds and advance leftist policy agenda. So now, their current pet project, it is anti-immigration enforcement. I hope you realize that in itself should tell you everything that you need to know about the NAACP. This organization is not interested in advancing anything other than being concerned about their alignment and how they can help Democrats stay in power. They are nothing more than a political compliance arm of the Democratic Party. And as I'm always telling y'all, Democrats are what? Masters looking for slaves, and Democrat voters are what? Slaves looking for masters. That is my mantra. I probably say it almost on every show, and I do it on purpose because I'm trying to drill it into your head. Yes, it is a form of indoctrination. I need you to hear that statement and to repeat it often. Me and so many of my peers in this content creation space, we've been working extra hard, waking up a whole lot of Black people. And at the advent of the content that we've been creating, we need to be honest. Many of you are here watching this live stream tonight because me and my peers started waking you up and you started walking away and you started functioning in your freedom and thinking independently. And honey, when that happened, you do realize, oh, the machine panicked. They started tweaking and twerking and trying to figure out what is we gonna do. We need a new strategy. The blacks are waking up. They running off the plantation. They out here talking about liberty and freedom and proud to be an American. And they singing and waving their hands. They like, we can't have that. So they needed you guys to import. They needed a new dependent class. And this dependent class is a little different than the blacks who already were here. They needed new people. They needed the people who may or may not didn't speak the language. That makes subjugation a whole lot easier. They needed a constituency who's not well versed in the Constitution. They needed people who would vote blue, just like you used to, no matter who. They needed people that would vote however the government, Big Daddy government, tells them to vote. Same plantation, different enforcement. But who pays the price? If we're going to be honest, who actually pays the price for open borders and all of this illegal immigration? We already know it ain't the NAACP executives. It's not these NGOs. It's not the DC elites. Barack and Michelle, they going to be out there or Martha's Vineyard doing what people who parlay at Martha's Vineyard do. But the whites, the blacks, all working class Americans of all stripes, we're going to be the ones holding the bag. So this is why you need to care about what the NAACP is doing. We're the ones that are going to have to deal with the suppressed wages, all of the strained housing, the overwhelmed and overcrowded school districts. Kids, I've heard testimonies of teachers who are like, I don't even want to teach anymore. Half the kids in my class don't speak English, and I've got to slow down how I teach because Consuela and Pablo don't speak the language. So now all of the other kids, the American children, have to slow their learning down because we have to accommodate the illegal immigrant children. Do you think the NAACP cares about that? No, they don't even care that crime in your community is now normalized. They have nothing to say about it. You know what you get? Y'all know the sound effect. You get the crickets. Why is that? It's because chaos is profitable. If your job is political agitation, you're like, well, the more chaos we get, the more power we get to retain. I don't know how many of y'all know this, but a huge majority of the NAACP, the founding members, they were either socialists or thoroughly sympathetic to Marxian thought. That means government is God, let's dethrone God, and let's propagate an anti-God, anti-Christian worldview. The whole origin story of the NAACP includes ties to socialist agitators. They've always flirted with Marxist rhetoric. And now what they're doing is they're marrying the Marxist rhetoric and then pivoting to big money Democrat donors. And the whole goal is so that the open border and advocacy for the illegal immigrant, it's all part of their strategy. They want confusion by design. But it's weird. It's weird because for an organization that's supposed to be so pro-Black, why are they pro-illegal immigration? It's because they are interested in keeping people dependent on the same government plantation that caused the mess that we see in Black America today. So let's correct a lie. I thought I had an image. I don't have a video to share, but when I was doing research for this and I pulled up the press release that the NAACP issued, it was a picture of some NAACP representatives. And y'all, where were they? They were in a church. In fact, I think I put the picture on the thumbnail. So I'm like, all right, so now y'all using the church, or should I say the melanated Marxist colored construct of Black liberation theology type church, because it's not a biblical church. So let's correct the lie. That was done for the optics. Let's take a picture in a church, in a pulpit, with some Black folks in the image to make people believe that this is a righteous Christian advocacy group. No, the Bible does not teach open borders, and do not let these people gaslight you into believing it does. When we see through scripture, we see law, we see order, personal accountability, and wait for it, national identity. National identity is not sinful, and even in Israel, they had borders, they had laws, they had distinctions between citizens and sojourners passing through. If you were an alien, a visitor, a sojourner, you were expected to respect the law. You just didn't bust up in Israel like, hey, we here. Y'all need to be our slaves and take care of us. No, you had the same rule for the sojourner and the native. The same rule. Not, oh, let these people come here and pillage and take from your children and leave you destitute just so you can say we have an open door policy, and anyone and anybody and anyone can come here. No, that's not how it works. But the left is out here lying, trying to make you believe that they are actually interested in compassion. They're not interested in compassion. They want political control, and they've attempted, with the picture that was on the thumbnail, that's the optical illusion that you needed to see so they can weaponize your Christian compassion in one of the most demonic and deceptive ways. I hope you caught that. The whole idea and the imagery presented by the NAACP is to preach a false gospel of distortion that's not going to help Black America. Oh, it's nothing in it for you. But it is designed to further destroy Black America and to push the Democrat agenda. So I'm going to say it plain. The NAACP is not about advancing colored people. Isn't it funny how they can call them the coloreds, but when I say it, people recoil and get an attitude and get upset? Why? The National Association for Colored People. Why can't I use colored? Why is it offensive when I say it? But they won't change the name of their group. But anyway, the National Association for the Abolition of Colored People, they are actually advancing communist talking points. They're pushing a communist agenda, and it's orchestrated by white liberal elites. All the NAACP is the watchdog. They're the melanated lapdogs, right? They're not fighting for justice. They're fighting for Democrat leverage. So if I'm gonna put a link to the press release. It's on, you can actually probably go to the NAACP website and type in dry ice and you'll find it. I thought the slogan was cute, but this is not a civil rights campaign. It's a wet lie, right? And it's nothing more than a lie designed to make you turn off your brain, to not think sober-minded about this. And you're going to slip and fall and bust your head to the white meat show, running behind these melanated-minded Marxist Negroes. So anyway, I just wanted to cover that to give you guys an update as to what the NAACP is doing. And we don't need to participate in the chaos, because we don't need any more chaos, y'all. We have enough of that in our own communities, and we haven't even figured out how to save our own communities or solve our own problems, let alone take up the charge for the illegal immigrant. But right now, when I look at the Black American community and just America at large, we don't need more advocacy groups, right? We just need truth and law and order, and especially in our homes, we need to return to a healthy doctrine of work, something you never hear. The NAACP advocate for. They love asking for more government dependence and programs, but not how do we empower people and change their mindset to have a healthy doctrine of work. They just want you to advocate for the free stuff, right? We also never hear them talk about the heteronormative nuclear family. Like, when's the last time you heard them have a campaign initiative for saying, hey, let's work to restore that, right? Let's reorient people around the idea of God and faith and scripture. Now, they're not, a faith-based group, but they love photo ops in churches, don't they? I just thought that was strange. But hopefully you guys are hip to the ploy of the NAACP. Do not fall for it. Share this episode with someone who you believe would value this commentary and who just needs to hear the truth straight with no chaser. Okay? Now, in other news, we're going to have a special guest. And he's been so patient. He's been waiting in the wings. And that was his choice, because I told him that I needed to cover the melanated Marxists first. And then I was going to bring him on. But he just wanted to be camped out here in the green room. So that's fine. But I'm going to get to some super chats first. Let's grab those. Shout out to all my hoes demonetized. Mrs. Chapman, top of the evening to you. Peace and blessings. Thank you so much. Man, listen, when I see your YouTube handle, I can't help but chuckle like a child because it is so funny. Listen, I don't know why that's your name. I'm not judging. I just enjoy being able to say it out loud and know that I'm just reading the words on the screen. These are not my thoughts, but it sure is funny. All my hoes demonetized. Oh, that is so, what a strange YouTube handle. I love it though. I do. Shout out to our newest moderator, Amethyst Angel. The sanctuary city in the Old Testament was opposite. It sure was. There was absolute compliance to that sanctuary city. You are so right, Sister Amethyst Angel. Thank you for that super chat. Let me figure out how I want to introduce this next topic. If y'all remember last week I did a reaction video to something Henry sent me, okay? And before I jump into this next segment and bring Henry on, I want to slow down for a bit, because last week I did a reaction to a clip from the Biblical Conservative channel. Shout out to you, Sean Crenshaw, if you're watching. I want to be clear. Listen, y'all are rough, okay? I didn't have any smoke for Sean. Anybody who objectively watched my reaction video saw that my source and point of contention was with a guest that was on his panel, and I disagreed with him based on public commentary that he offered. And I felt it was relevant to my wheelhouse, because I absolutely have issues with the civil rights movement and the civil rights pioneers, who we've been told need to be celebrated and need to be recognized for their contributions to the cause. And for me, I don't have an emotional attachment to that movement, outside of the fact that I was indoctrinated and grew up to believe that it was something virtuous and that I owed all of my freedoms, the things that I get to enjoy today, that I needed to attribute it to this movement. And some people, listen, if that's your position, you are free to hold that view. However, for me, I think in terms of analyzing outcomes. Like, I want to look at the results of a movement. The older I get, the more I am uninterested in symbolism and fake virtue. I think it takes a humble and contrite heart to be able to analyze reality and look at where a particular community is today and then determine, did this help us? What did we learn from it? And what can we take away from it to ensure that our future is better than our past? Right. So, like, the Jewish people do this. The Jews were subjugated not just in Egypt and in Babylon and during the Holocaust. They weren't the only people group. But you don't see them romanticizing their oppression and what happened to them. They will look at it rightly, and even the children of Israel will acknowledge, we were sinful and disobedient, and this is what led us there, and we were ungrateful, and we were begging to go back to Egypt after everything God had did for us. And we just have so many examples in history of a people group just kind of looking at, through the lens of history, at their own history and just making a right assessment, good, bad, or indifferent. And I find that when we do that as Black Americans, a lot of us are just not honest, and we want to hold on to the virtue of something. And when you get pushback and criticism, instead of us just owning it, we want to double down on it. So I want to be clear. One thing, I wasn't attacking Sean at all. I don't know Sean. I watch his content regularly. I feel that we're in the same wheelhouse doing the same thing. I don't have an issue with Sean. It did disappoint me that some of you were threatening to unsubscribe from his channel. Like, y'all, come on now. We can't do that. I already told y'all. It's not a matter of if I'm going to say something that you disagree with. It's going to be when. And when it happens, you can be petty and unsubscribe if you want to. That's fine. But I'm trying to call people to a higher level of maturity and be like, okay, I didn't like something that happened over there, but I'm not going to get super emotional about it and just not support anymore. No way. I didn't walk away from watching that exchange. It wasn't even an exchange. All I did was play the words of one person on the panel. I didn't walk away from that saying, oh, well, Sean must agree, or Sean, I get it. Some of y'all were like, well, he should have pushed back. An argument can be made for that. It can be. I just want to be clear. The statements that I made, as spicy as they were, was in reaction to the public statements made by Pastor Broden. Okay? So this is one of those conversations that I am hoping I'm going to bring Henry on, and we're going to bring some clarity, not more chaos. Now, y'all are responsible for you. Y'all want to act a fool. Listen, I hope you don't, but you grown. Do what you want to do. I think it's important to discuss these things, and because this is my platform, I was made aware of this from my friend. So I'm going to bring my friend on so we can discuss it. Hey, friend.
Hey, my sister. Yes, I'm glad that we have this opportunity because I think, I love that you talk to the audience about, things did get pretty intense last week, but I think it's also systematic, April, of where we are as a nation. And people are really, when you have the scales pulled off of your eyes and you see that you've been misled, and in this case for decades, when you then see someone try to justify it, I think that was why the reaction was what it was.
Okay, Henry, hold on one second. Your mic sounds a little, I don't know if it's just a muffling or and I don't know if it's just me. Can you adjust your mic just a little bit to
Okay.
see
Hold on,
if
let's come
that
up.
improves it? It should.
How
Y'all
about
say
that?
hi to Henry Hollywood Morris.
How's
Talk
my
now.
sound, Doc?
Go ahead, say something. Yeah,
Testing.
somebody was
How-
saying that the reverb was bad.
Is it still that?
Keep talking. I won't know till you talk, son.
I have the setup where we're doing the same that we did 2 weeks ago. It's
Okay, do it.
only 30 degrees cold
Somebody said
outside.
that's a double mic issue. April, echo on the sound. Is it on my end or on his? Is it
I
on
can go
my
to the-
end, gang, or on Henry's?
You want to go?
Keep talking, Henry.
Okay.
Still echo.
Let
Hold
me
on. Say something else.
headsets if we need to switch.
Yeah. I don't know why it's so echoey.
All right, let me grab the headset and we'll do that way.
Awesome. You guys, thank you so much for your patience. It is a live show. So, okay. Sounds like two mics. Yeah, it did kind of sound like two mics. You're right. You're right. I'm bringing Henry on to discuss this. One, so you guys will understand, this is not a hit piece. It really isn't. I understand there's this sentiment, and we'll probably talk a little bit about it. I am not of the opinion that just because two people share the same viewpoint, that they're always going to agree on everything 100% all the time, and that if you hear something that you like, this is not congruent with the worldview that we say that we hold to, for you to not expect pushback is just unfair. Go ahead, Henry, say something.
Yes. Is
that
better? The headset.
You just sound really far away.
Wait a minute. Let's change in things of what microphone. Now we're going to do that.
Okay.
Now, how about now?
We won't know
What
till you
about
talk.
I actually am talking.
Oh, you are?
I have here.
Ooh, no, this bad.
Did you-
No, it's
That's not.
Are you playing in a window? Are you playing me in a window? Because I can hear me.
Yeah, I can turn that. Okay.
Now you
hold
need to
on.
close that
Let
out
me-
altogether.
Correct.
Close that out.
You're not in a window monitor. Okay.
Now I think you can have me in the monitor. But
Now I just have you in my headset.
yeah, you just sound really far and really echoey, even if I turn you up.
What happened to the cancel echo setting we had?
I mean, it's on. I got use echo cancellation on. I have that on. I don't know. Somebody said maybe you should leave and come back. Thank you, Sister Betty.
Let's try that.
Wait, that sounds better. Do it again.
How does this sound?
Keep talking.
Does it sound better?
What do y'all think? I think it sounds
all
better.
I did was reconnect. So I reconnected the live, and I do have the volume completely off.
And are you're not using the computer?
I'm hearing you through my headset.
I'm gonna kick you out and then add you back in and see if that corrects it.
Okay.
All right. Somebody said it's fixed. Stop. There it is. I kind of thought so, but I wasn't sure. Let's see if I'm gonna let him come back in. We're gonna wait for him to come back in, and he'll come back eventually. We're waiting for Henry to come back. Hello, hello, hello. Come on and join the. There he goes. I hear him. I heard him come in. Let me see. Say something.
Now I'm back on the live, the Rode wireless.
Okay.
Still the same.
It seems like it's cut. It just cuts out. Take out the headphones again.
All right.
Like I just heard myself. I think your mic is picking up me from your headphones. Because I can hear it.
Well, you are.
Somebody said it sounds like there are two mics picking up something.
Okay, so now the only sound, the audio I have coming in is actually from the laptop.
Okay. So you're out your what is your input? Is it using the roads?
Yes. Yeah, the input, so my lav right here is what we have, is what you're hearing me from. And which one of your kids been playing with the setup?
Oh, no, sir. It is not my setup at all. Now somebody's saying they hear April twice. Oh, Father. I didn't touch nothing. So let me do something. Hello? Do y'all still hear me twice? And now I hear you super loud. Can you say something?
Did you want me to say something?
That is better. That's it.
Okay.
Okay. Just talk though. Like give me a countdown or something.
And 5, 4, 3, 2. Today.
All right. I think that's as good as it's gonna get. Lord, I don't forgot what we supposed to be talking about. Dealing with your audio issues, just bootleg and ghetto. Oh. Anyway, all right, Henry. So here's the deal.
Yes.
Initially, let me bring the audience up to speed. If they saw the reaction video I did last week to the theology of helplessness, and I was reacting to comments made by Pastor Broden, who was a guest on the Biblical Conservative channel of Sean Crenshaw. I'm a fan of Sean. Right. This is not a personal attack. But the discussion that I was trying to have was about theology and accountability and what our mission and goals should be. And I was trying to make sure that as believers, we were thinking consistently and not allowing our ethnicity to cloud our view, not just of history, but the implications of our theological position as it relates to the Black experience in America. I find so often that we as Black Americans, because we were subjugated or marginalized, we tend to have a very inconsistent view when it comes to the fact that we recognize that something happened to us, but we struggle to be, theologically consistent, and we don't really want to have a right view of it, and we want to always give ourselves an out. And I'm just one of those people that you can be sincere, you can be very well-intentioned, but there are theological implications to our view of history and culture and politics and all of those things. So, Henry, I'm going to turn it over to you. You sent me 3 clips because you guys, Sean has responded, And in full transparency, a good friend of mine attempted to broker a discussion. But I declined that discussion because I felt, I was like, I don't believe I misunderstood what was being conveyed. What was conveyed was what was conveyed, and I responded to what was conveyed. I wasn't confused, nor did I feel that there was a misunderstanding. And I just kind of felt like I said what needed to be said, and I was just ready to move on from it. But then Henry was like, well, Sean has responded, because I don't believe that there was a favorable response from the audience. And to be fair, y'all was a little rough. Y'all were a little rough. I understand it, but I'm not necessarily co-signing to it. People say stuff that I don't agree with all the time, but I'm not just gonna up and subscribe when one thing happens. Like, you take in the content, get what you need from it, be challenged, push back against your deeply held presuppositions, and then move on. But in Sean's response, Henry was like, I'm still not settled with this response. So, Henry, explain to us what the problem is from your perspective.
Let me just go back quickly, April, to the original incident, because like you said, I did reach out to you and Vince when I was watching the clip last week.
Why do you sound so like you got auto-tune or something? Can you hold the mic in your hand?
Yes.
The love, let's see if that helps. I know you don't want to do that.
How about this?
No. Do it again. Wait.
Yeah, now with the mic in my hand.
Yeah, but your volume is not as loud as mine. Keep talking.
Because you have the mixer right there. What I was saying was, and you tell me if the sound, are you adjusting on the fly?
I was trying to.
Okay. It was not just what Pastor Broden said. It wasn't the defense of MLK that he was trying hard, and what I honestly he was crashing out to do. And it was bigger than that, because what I was sharing with you in our communication is the moment that you make MLK and you make the excuse that he became theologically liberal because white conservatives wouldn't admit him into their schools, then it's like we're no longer talking about history. You're literally you're talking about whether the gospel of Jesus Christ is actually sufficient. So whole crash out that he did.
Stop. The audience is still saying that audio is a problem and that it sounds garbled. Give me one quick second. Let me try something. Can you say something?
Something. And 1, 2, 3. I'm not sure what the temp. I'm going to keep talking so you can try to get a beat.
Yeah, it just sounds. It's like there's a distortion of some sort, and I don't know what it is.
I promise you, the setup is the same. I mean, I did change clothes.
Like, we can barely, like, your volume on my end is probably almost as high as it can go, and people are saying that they can barely hear you. Are you sure your computer is not picking up or using the computer's microphone or the camera's microphone? Someone says you got 2 hot mics. That's what Nidalik is saying.
Okay, wait a minute. Microphone 2 is definitely, the headset mic is off. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So we're back in the settings here now with your link. And now, right now, I'm going through Cam Links, so I'm going to change it to Rode Stream Input. And I don't, so now I don't think you can hear me because I don't have any meters.
We can hear
And
you.
no
I
meters
muted
there.
my mic and I can still hear you.
Okay.
But now I can hear me.
Okay, I hear you. Is that better with sound?
No.
It is not.
Mm-mm. It sounds like two mics.
Okay.
My echo cancellation is on. Yeah. Someone says like we can hear you. It just has an echo, and then some people are saying they can only hear you in one ear. It's like a wateriness. No, Caleb, I feel you. It sounds like he's swimming with like a waterproof mic that claims that it's waterproof, but it ain't. That's what it sounds like. Someone said the shirt mic ain't working.
Yeah, we have that. We took the lav off, so you see me holding it in my hand, but you're saying that's not changing.
No, it sounds like trash, bro. I'm saying it sounds bad. So, what does do you have maybe like a road? How are you connecting to? I know you're using a browser. Can you? So Wanda, you can hear him, but does he sound bad, Wanda? Does he sound garbled like he sounds like to the rest of us? Change from cam mic to shirt mic. I think he got the shirt mic.
Yeah, I took the lav is right here. Because you were saying either way, it was not coming through.
Like even when you move that mic closer, it is not making a difference.
Okay.
Which says to me, it's almost as if that is not the mic that's being used. Because when you move it like this and move it like this, it sounds the same.
Wait.
Now I don't have any earphones. Just listen to it through the phone. You'll hear him just a little echo. Yeah, I don't like the echo though. Somebody said it's probably Joe Biden's teleprompter. That was funny. I don't know. I just heard something connect.
Yeah, I turned the Rode off to cut it back on.
Somebody says like it's in a bathroom. You sounded clear for a second. You really did. Like we was trying to touch and agree with you.
What is it doing now with the touching and agreeing?
Sound watery? If that
It's still
like
doing the I'm adjusting.
you're coming in and out. Like I can hear you speaking, but it's no clarity of sound. It's sound, but it's patchy. Does that make sense?
I mean, no one would ever accuse you of being an audio technician. So
Yeah. That if there's one thing I don't know is audio.
You do
I
what
just
you
don't.
can. Wait a minute. I'm gonna adjust what I'm gonna connect the.
Somebody called your mic a Tamu mic. I hear some feedback. I don't know, y'all. Maybe the Lord don't want it. He like, we don't want y'all talking about this. Somebody saying you about to do. she said he just sound like he's about to do an I have a dream speech. Right, it sounds analog, like 1964 analog. It does. No, we're not in a call together. He is in his studio in Florida. I'm here, and I'm using the same software I use for all of my interviews. They kind of come in and yeah. I'm glad y'all are having a good time. We'll have him on soon. So this is what we'll do. I have 3 clips queued up that Henry sent to me, And the reason why I brought Henry on for this is because you guys, Henry is my brother in the Lord and he's a friend of the channel. But the reason why Henry and I connected so well is because he has been a conservative way longer than I have. Both he and Vince, they're my brothers, but they've been like mentors to me, helping challenge my deeply held presuppositions, helping me to understand these political issues in light of my Christian worldview. And I will be honest, I have I've challenged my own view by asking myself the rebuttals, but what about this? And well, can we still hold on to it because of this? I have I've examined this issue from almost every angle thoroughly. And we are incredibly confident in our position. And the reason why I believe there is been such a clash amongst conservatives who profess the name of Christ is because I'm being honest and I'm not trying to be rude or dismissive. A lot of us have not thought deeply about these issues. We've not been challenged. I'll give you an example. Chad Jackson was in Uncle Tom 2, which he was involved in that project, but it technically wasn't his project. That was actually a project of Malone Pictures, and he was active in the research and development of that film. And if you remember, in Uncle Tom 1, I think Carol Swain was in that film, but Uncle Tom 2, she was not in that film. And she wasn't in that film is because she was incredibly uncomfortable with the framing and the challenging that what Chad Jackson was trying to bring out in terms of helping us to rethink the civil rights movement and MLK as this icon to be celebrated. She was uncomfortable with it. She didn't want to have any parts in it. Jason Whitlock was the same way. He didn't even watch it. There were a lot of people who took issue with what Chad was trying to help people understand because they were not ready to deal with King. It was one thing for us to know that there may have been some sexual impropriety and things about King that were less than celebratory. Our issue wasn't even that. Yes, it's a problem, right? Oh, where does camera go? Is he coming out to come back in? I hope so. I mean, I could do the show. Let me finish. He'll probably come back. Oh, he's muted himself and turned off his camera. So he's here. He's just in the cut. What happened was a lot of people had never really examined what it is that we believe as Christians and what the Bible teaches about our Christian witness and the gospel and the implications thereof. And we never really examined the civil rights movement and MLK as an icon through that lens. And because we believed that had King not did what he did, that Black people would not enjoy the freedoms that we enjoy today, a lot of us examined that and we were like, well, wait a minute. That is an inconsistent view in light of who we are in Christ Jesus. The tactics, the idea that who cares that this people thought this way about you? Who are you to be concerned about in terms of who views you and how? We're not to be concerned about how others view us. We're only to be concerned about how God views us. And being an agitator and using coercion and extortion is an unbiblical means to achieve what you believe is a just end. And so I understand the contention that a lot of people have with the project that I am involved in. And I understand the emotional response to it. I even understand the argument that, well, you guys are too harsh and, you can't expect to help people when you're ragging on them all the time. And the reason why I'm struggling, my friend is back. I even struggle with that argument. To me, it's because the Lord has been so kind to redeem the lack of father participation I had in my childhood, and the Lord has blessed me and given me more than I could have ever asked for in terms of masculine male influence in my life to correct a lot of the effeminate worldview that I had. Let me explain. I developed a relationship with my father in his latter years when I was older. But my husband, I met him at age 25, and he helped shape my worldview and helped me to understand the world rightly as a man. I've had godly pastors and elders pour into my life who've discipled me and shepherded me. And then I have mentors, people like Henry, people like Vince. Even Chad is like my little play brother, and he's younger than me. There's been so much value added to my life from the masculine Christian ethic that these men embody that I struggle to give us an out in terms of excuses and placing blame. It's I can't do it. I can't. And that's probably why I come across a little rough. It's because I'm not willing to give us an out. Because true masculinity doesn't do that. It takes ownership and accountability. So Henry is back. Let me see. He's muted right now. You ready to be unmuted? Hold on. You've muted yourself. You got to unmute you. I ain't got the power. You have the shusher. Unshush
Right.
yourself.
Okay. I'm hoping that this is better. This is the second time I had to pull out this the April headset. You want to keep me bound in these headsets. That's
No,
what it
I
is.
think you sound great. You
Yes.
sound great. I just need you to get into the center of the frame because you
All
look
right.
like you trying to run off out the camera.
All right. So here we go.
Oh,
We
thank you.
readjusted now. Good.
Thank
We
you.
good.
A little more.
A little bit
Move over a
more.
little more.
Okay.
Get in the center. There it is. What did you
All right.
do?
There. Well, we don't go to USB now, so we had to go
Oh.
old school. We
Future
we had to
said,
go old school.
she said, let us have a prayer circle. Let me just get the super chat real quick. My girl Amethyst Angel said, I was born in 63. So was my sister. And my parents weren't into it like others. I am learning a whole lot, especially from a biblical perspective. As we say in AA, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Girl, that was some wisdom right there because when I was ready, all of my teachers were so willing to be like, come on, baby girl. Let me show you how this world really works. And I am blessed to have people in my life like you, Henry. I'm so grateful to Krista all the time because she lends you to me and
Yes.
allows us to collaborate like this because it really is helping a lot of people. So take the mic, pimping.
All right. So when we went back, and you didn't play any of the clips yet, right?
No, I was just running my mouth.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. So it boils down. You said one thing about being able to take, harsh criticism and see things in black and white. And I don't know how much more black and white it can get than this, sis, because it's
Mm.
either regeneration is real or white institutions control doctrine, but you can't have both. And so that's what I was going through my head that night as I'm listening to Pastor Broden. I know you did mention that he was in Uncle Tom. He said 1 and 2, but I'm like, then this if you're gonna attack the doctrine of regeneration and the sufficiency of the Holy Spirit, and then say that that is different based on the melanin count in our skin or what schools we were or were not admitted into, then I'm like, that is a serious concern. And if
Right.
you, and then if when you, because the moment you turn trauma into a theological excuse, then we're replacing repentance with reparations and regeneration with grievance, and that is not the gospel.
It is not. I'm gonna have to clip that one. I'm gonna have to clip that one. And I get it. I'm trying to be gracious here, but I believe the problem has been we've allowed ourselves to we've wiggled ourselves out of the accountability of this.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it's not helping us.
Right.
And I love people enough to be like, I'm going to drag some of you guys kicking and screaming, and perhaps some of you I will rub your back, but you're going to get this truth. And the medicine may not feel good going down, but when you wake up in the morning saying, I feel like a new person, you're grateful for the night that you spent hurled over the toilet. You know
Correct.
what I'm saying?
Because absolutely, because April, like I said, it boils down to sometimes it just we got to get down to the nitty gritty with this, and it's based what we were responding to is from what we heard, and I'm glad that you made the distinction that we were not and are not trying to throw Sean under the bus, but we just have to keep it real. And so if the gospel isn't strong enough to produce truth, repentance, discipline, family structure, personal morality, without white approval for black people, then we're not preaching Christianity. This is just sociology with a cross at the top of it, and that's what you see. That's what many of us have been freed from. But just like the children of Israel, in a lot of cases, you and I talked about this off air, but they don't start complaining to Moses about wanting to go back. And so you're going to see this when you play the clip, that there's even references to the Moses generation. And I'm like, that's not an excuse. That can't be an excuse. That's unacceptable.
Okay, so I'm gonna queue up. Let's queue up this. This was you've sent me 3 clips. I don't.
Yeah.
I ain't even gonna lie. I didn't have time to look at these. I have no idea what I'm looking at. So I'll be I'm gonna be experiencing this the same time with the rest of you guys.
Yes. So
And
so
go
yeah,
ahead.
just to give you the brief preview. This was what Sean posted when he went live yesterday or the day before, and he's doing it. I thought he said he needed to clear up some things,
Right.
and so that's what he was attempting to do. But in some cases, when you try to clear up an offense with a defense that isn't based in sound doctrine either, then sometimes the defense of the offense becomes worse than what the original offense was.
Oh.
And so that's what some of this turned into. But I thought, because of, like you said, we don't know Sean personally, but we know his work. And I think that he does have the heart that you can say, you know what, we can publicly disagree and point out where, yeah, we're saying that we're on the same team, but is some serious biblical distinctions that have to be made,
Right.
because we can't do the Christ, the color version of Christ, and play that whole ethnic idolatry dynamic, because that's not what we do in the real body of Christ.
Right. So I think for me, at the end of the day, I've always wanted us to see Christ over color and
Correct.
to be consistent in that. And so I don't, like I said, I don't know what these clips are, but we'll react to them in real time. And you're in the
Yes.
driver's seat in this in terms
Okay.
of helping us flesh out what you believed was still a blind spot, in hopes that it's a teaching moment for the listening and watching audience. And then maybe even Sean is like, you know what? I hadn't really thought about it like that. That's cool too. So let's go ahead. This is the clip number 1.
Right.
My thing is to really uplift the people, uplift people that listen to me, mainly my audience. My audience, as you all know, consists of Christians, but also consists of Black people, Black Christians, who I want to encourage to follow the Bible, follow the Word of God, follow the kingdom of God, and operate from that position. I operate from the cultural norms that the people, that the elites, that the bougie elites want to place on us. So that's what I do, right? So that's everything I do. That's the premise. If you want to know what the premise is of this channel, for everyone that's new, the premise of the channel is to bring biblical truth to the culture, the government, and the church. That's it. because my whole idea is not to be like the other folks who cast stones and throw stones at black people and blame black people for their plight. Now, will I say that black people have bought into the lie, this black culture, this lie that has been forced upon them? Yes. Everyone is responsible for the decisions that they have to make. I'm not absolving anyone of any decision that they've made. That's why I always say we're not victims, we are empowered for greatness. So, of course, I don't buy into the victim mentality or anything like that. But a lot of people who do what I do love to critique and poke fun and lambaste and denigrate black people because they benefit off of that. They benefit, I'm telling you from knowledge. If you want to grow fast as a if you want to grow fast as a black conservative content creator, there's two ways you can do it. One way is to be degenerate, just say all kind of nasty stuff that the culture agrees with. The other way is to bash black people and attack black people and blame black people for everything that goes on in America.
I pause it there.
Thank you.
I pause it there because can we just have an honest discussion?
Let's do it.
Nobody, at least with sense, is on YouTube because they ain't got nothing else better to do. I have never hid that I am a capitalist. I've been an entrepreneur for 15 years. That's one of the beauties of living in America. If you have a product or a service and a way to get paid, you have a business. And I understand some people are on YouTube because they just want to make cat videos and it's a hobby. You can use it for that. Or you can use it to say, well, wait a minute, not only do I have a voice, but I have a voice that YouTube will reward me if I have something to say that's meaningful and transformative and that people enjoy watching. So I get it. If you feel you have to denigrate a platform because in your mind you believe that what drives me is that I just want to whip up on black people. It's just an unfair categorization when I can look at my people and say, look at what we're doing to ourselves. Who's going to tell us? Because if the white man tell you, you're going to say he racist. But if your own people tell you, now you're bashing them. Pick a struggle. Which one is it?
Yeah, let's pick a struggle is great because let's not stop there, because then when the actual Africans criticize us, then we created a whole nother subset. Well, we're foundational. We're foundational black Americans. So this he's saying about, and he says that he stands on, that we're destined for greatness and we're not victims, but yet very early on in the explanation, the goalpost was already being moved and saying about how people, if you want to grow your channel to be a black person and bash other black people, but then we're excusing the behavior that we monetize on our own.
Right. I mean,
and then defend
down.
it and say that it's our culture. So like you said, pick a struggle is right. So the dancing, the moonwalking is starting early. The moonwalking is starting early. And again, it ties into what you started off tonight with, April, about this dry ice or whatever this foolishness with I call it the National Advancement of Communist Principles, but that they literally, you literally have the organization that claims to represent black people, yet like you pointed out tonight, that everything that they uphold actually sets us back and works against us. Now at the same token, then they will turn around when the situation gets worse and then say they need more money to help fix a situation that they created. And so even though Sean would probably say, well, that's not what he was intending, but that's what happens when you can't look at yourself in the mirror individually or collectively and point out things that are obvious, or say when people do and it hurt. Does it hurt your feelings? Is that
Listen,
is that the problem?
There is no way. I am a mother and I am raising children. You know when your kids are jacked up. Like, you
Yes.
know when they are living beneath their potential. You know when they are making excuses and blaming everyone for everything. And I didn't do nothing. It's not my fault. And as
Right.
parents, you either have to love your children enough to say, I'm not giving you an out. I'm
Yes.
not coddling you in this. You're going to own this. And I understand some parents are like, well, you can't treat all children. You know, some you'll crush, little Johnny's spirit. Listen, do we are we children or are we well-adjusted adults?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And April, again, it's you talked about the AA example. If you're never willing to honestly address that there is a problem, then how will you ever get to the solution? And by the same, and then again, that's we do this either or. The whole double-mindedness, because the minute some of us, which all of us in the Christ over color crew, as we call it, has been criticized for,
Right.
is that when you remove yourself from the community, well, then we're a sellout. And you're airing our laundry out in public. The public knows, they see it. They've been seeing it for 5 to 6 decades now. Everyone knows they're exploiting the dysfunction to stay in power, and that's exactly what you pointed out earlier with the NAACP. And so they can only buy what we're willing to sell. And if we don't want to be held accountable, then you're going to continue to buy foolishness and lies.
I mean, I just feel like when you love a person and you see them running into a burning building, you don't have time to sit back and be like, I mean, are they feelings gonna be
I
hurt
have to,
if I yank them
right.
by the collar and I pull too hard? I'm like,
Yes.
Negro, they was running into a burning building. I ain't got time for that. I'm trying to get you out. I mean, listen, if people view what I'm doing as throwing stones at black people, some of us need to be bust upside the head into the white meat show. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
Some of us need
Absolutely.
that. We absolutely
Absolutely.
do.
And this,
Go ahead.
again, April, what more do we want to see when you said that, as we're talking about, and they're going to get into the Moses generation, but when we see what we have seen in 2026 and the results aren't good, at what point in the game do we stop blaming everybody else and catching and getting in our feelings when we're confronted on our own chaos?
Right. I would see this. I hate being old because I was gonna say something and it's gone. I forgot. You want me to finish this clip? This is still clip
Yes.
one. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh gosh.
I'm just keeping it 100. If you want to grow fast, that is how people typically do. This is Pastor Broden. Now, Pastor Broden's a grown man. Pastor Green's a grown man. Sam's a grown man. I'm a grown man. I'm not here to justify anyone for what they have to say. But I'm giving you this caveat that Pastor Broden right there, that man right there, this man has run for office. This man has stood up for black conservatives long before it was proper to do that. So I'm just giving you some backstory as to why he may sound the way he sounds. I may try to reach out to Chad Jackson on my own. If someone knows him, if you send this to him, I would love to have him on just to have a responsible conversation. Because for me, I'm not trying to fight against someone that believes the same thing that I believe. Now, we may disagree in how we approach it and apply it, but at the end of the day, we're not in disagreement in terms of what we're trying to do. But here's the part that made people upset, and I'll come back and comment on. I answer some of the questions that are posted in the chat.
Where there's this young man who's from the Dallas area who's got what he calls the MLK project.
Yep.
I'm going to there, and I'm going with the intent of saying that that he is misrepresenting the facts of that time period, and he does not. He gives one side of it, which I believe is dishonest. I honestly believe it's intellectual dishonesty to just look at Martin Luther King from one side. The story needs to be told in its entirety, not one side.
I'm sorry. This is so funny to me because we've only heard one side for 60 years.
For 60 years, exactly. This is the part that triggered, to me to send it to you and Vince. And the other thing is, okay, why we on here with our robe on? Like bathrobe, but go ahead.
I'm not going there with you. You're not dragging me down to the pit with you tonight. You're not. I am focused on the issue. So
I blame Vince Ellison.
I can't stand you. Get off my table. I can't. I am not mature enough to move forward, so I'm gonna let you finish.
Go ahead, hit play. Let him talk.
Martin Luther King is the result of white racism that kept him from going to a conservative theological institution where he could get grounded in solid biblical principles. And he went to liberal institutions that denied the virgin birth, denied Jesus was the Son of God, and denied the authenticity of Scripture. And so he was trained there because the white conservatives did not want him in their institutions. That story is not being told, and it needs to be told if there's going to be a historical analysis. And we need to be the ones to tell the truth instead of getting a hammering and deriding and beating down the black community because we are perverts, lost, and depraved. Our depravity is not because we had a choice. We were forced into it. And somebody needs to say that.
No, but
Where's Rick Caldwell? Where's Rick's sound effect?
Flag on the play.
What?
Cook.
So when Sean says that Pastor Broughton can speak and speak for himself, and he's a grown man and he can defend himself, and he will try to explain his reasoning for this, but I'm like, Sean, bro, we see you nodding. So you're saying you were nodding, that wasn't in agreement, you weren't amen in this foolishness? Because we're looking at it. So we're trying to figure out what it is, because this is, if you say that you only step in when people go too far and go way off the rails, this train is in the Grand Canyon. It left the tracks a long time ago, and like I said, we've just taken responsibility. We've taken the whole power of the Holy Spirit now and said that basically all of our problems and depravity was forced on us. So we're robots now, right?
Let me ask you a question, Henry.
Yes.
My mother was born in 43.
Yes.
She wasn't a Southerner, but I have other family members that were here in the South that are part of the silent generation. And to be honest, do you think that some individuals who may have been college age or young adults during this time, they want, now that we're kind of exposing the other side that wasn't discussed for the past 60 years, do you believe that so many of these people have tied their own identity and attached it to this movement that now that we're examining the other side, they feel personally attacked as opposed to saying, you know what? Part of this could be our fault. We let that Negro drag us down to the pit, and look at where we are because of it. And do you believe maybe they just don't want to take ownership for it? And then you have some individuals who may be in Generation X who are like, we can't take this away from them because it's part of their identity. And so we just kind of got to go along with it, even though we know we see the outcomes and it's not good. but let's pacify them for the sake of the fact that this gives them meaning and purpose. What do you think?
I absolutely feel that that is the case, and that is why what we're doing, not just tonight, but when these accusations are made that it's going to come up here that we're getting funded from with white money or money from white people. This is why I think it's important that we, lay it out, the facts, and come with the receipts, April, because that's the problem. If you never, whether this is you individually, a family, parents, if you never want to take responsibility for the bad decisions that you made, then how can you ever correct it? And
Right.
so the fact that this pastor was in Uncle Tom, and I think I went to change mics, and what she went through, and she admitted it, and Jason admitted it also, that this was basically idolatry, an idol that they had. That of course, Dr. Swain said, she was an adult, a young adult during this time, and they did not want this basically idol that has been created to be pulled down. And the reason why it's so dangerous is that you literally have, now this, mind you, this is when Vince starts talking, and Chad and Chuck and you guys had that great panel, and you started talking about other historical figures, other national leaders during that time, like Malcolm X, saying that the white liberal is the most dangerous things to blacks in America because they will use you. that that was before of like the March of Washington. We have to put that in
Right.
the context of why he was warning that then. And so you mean to tell me 60 years later we're still going to keep playing like we don't understand? Yeah. So you will never you address the problems if you can't honestly look at and take responsibility for why you're in the situation that you're in. So yes, they do. And of course, my parents were both born in the 40s, April, in southern North Carolina and Alabama, and Chris's parents, Alabama and South Carolina. And
Right.
like we've shared with you, neither one of our fathers grew up with that mentality, but they also grew up telling us that what we're seeing on Eyes on the Prize is not what they saw, it's not what they lived. And Chris, we talked about it this morning. She said for years, up until Chad's documentary, she just did not want to believe what her father was telling her because she was being indoctrinated in the public school system and then at university, that this was the greatest thing to ever happen, and basically we've put MLK on a pedestal, and a lot of people in the black community higher than Christ Jesus.
Right. Like if
Unacceptable.
you think about our parents who were born in the 40s were college
Mhm.
aged during the civil rights movement.
Exactly.
I don't pretend to know how old Pastor Broden is, but if you think, first of all, my family members who were college age during this time, many of them were in college. They
Mhm.
were achieving despite the opposition and the segregation. Like my father-in-law has a math degree and worked his way up to be an executive for the largest telecommunications company in the country at the time.
Mhm.
And I'm like, your lived experience doesn't even match the whining. Stop it.
Right.
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 And so I think they hold on to it because for them, it's almost like a battle scar, even though it's stolen valor. They want to hold on to it as a battle scar and refuse to acknowledge that even they may have been duped into internalizing victimhood. When I'm reading Ralph David Abernathy's autobiography,
The
and
walls
he
came
talks,
tumbling down.
this fool tells the story of how when he was in college, he got all of his frat brothers to go down to the courthouse to register to vote. And this is when they were playing games with like the literacy test and stuff. And he games the system to be able to vote by filling out the form, didn't even answer all the questions, but didn't leave any of them blank. And then the lady who's grading it is not even literate, but because he filled out all of the lines, she passes him. and then tries to say, well, you passed, but now you need to recite the 14th Amendment. Now he says, I'm familiar with the 14th Amendment, but I don't know it by heart. So instead, you know what he does? He recites the Pledge of Allegiance. This white woman is so ignorant. She doesn't even know the difference between the Pledge of Allegiance and the 14th
In the 14th
Amendment.
Amendment.
And she passed
Yeah.
him and gave him a voter registration card. So I'm like, you're in college and you can see the foolery of this foolishness, but yet you feel inferior when clearly you're smarter than this woman. I'm convinced they felt inferior, or someone told them that they were, but their
Yes.
outcomes were demonstrating that I'm in college in the 60s. I own a car, I own a house, my parents are homeowners. I'm trying to understand the victimhood, where it came from. Someone made these individuals feel this way. And like the children of Israel, they weren't looking around at all what the Lord had already done in their lives and
Yes.
said, we don't give a darn what these white racists think about us. We are charting our own path and our own destiny. And we're doing it without the white man's help. But they taught us that we need to go and beg the white man to say, please come sit next to us, because it's only
Right.
sitting next to us that you're validated and that your essence and worth is now of importance, or something like that. I don't know. I'm trying to give grace to understand the things that were just said and the rationalization given to excuse it, and I'm still not seeing it.
Yeah, because I don't know that there is one that is there to be seen. Because again, this is a pastor. So and Sean is, we'll let Sean go. He's gonna address some things here in the next clip. But when go back to the part where the accusation is that Chad is only giving one side of the story, and then I also took that to, our Big Brother Vince. I was like, wait a minute. In Vince's documentary and Chad's documentary, they're giving us the actual. You have writings, you have the writings, you have the videos, you have the recordings, and it's almost like what we're seeing with these fools in Minneapolis, where you literally will change reality and say you did not see what you
What you
just
just
saw.
saw.
Right, which is like when we go, where Yuri Bezmenov, he was the KGB agent that defected, and he said the stages of the communist takeover in America, number one is demoralization, where you can show someone real time the facts, and because it doesn't align with what they've been indoctrinated with, they will reject it. And I thought that is what we were seeing in this clip with the pastor. And yeah, that it just, again, April, it was ridiculous. We want to be gracious, but it is what it is.
I'm trying to be nice because it's apparently my straight shooter, no forward. Straightforward attitude is a bit much for some folk, but I hope people understand that the passion and the aggression that you hear from me comes from a level of frustration of loving my people
Absolutely.
enough to want to shake it out of them, to be like, wake up, wake
Yes.
up. And I'm not saying that method is going to work on everybody, but the last person or group of people that I would expect to be having this type of discussion or pushback from women, right? Because we're
Right.
the feelers and the nurturers. Like, for
Right.
example, what people don't know is how many knockout, and I'm calling them knockout dragouts, that I have had between you and Vince trying to help me see this. Because I
Correct.
was like, but what about, but maybe, and y'all looking at me like,
No,
no,
absolutely not.
you wouldn't let up until
Right.
I cried mercy. And I was like, okay, uncle, all right. Because y'all loved me enough to say, you're smarter than this. You're not
Yes.
leaving room for the possibility that these, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all were
Absolutely.
forcing me to look under every nook and cranny and to look at it from every angle until I was forced to say, is no other way.
Right.
I have to deal with this truth and the reality of what is and not what I'd like for it to be.
Right. And I'm glad. Let me piggyback off of what you said there. I think that it has a lot to do with how Vince and I were raised, how Robert Chapman was raised. And this again points to the problem with the growth of feminism and the matriarchy, not just in the black community, but in America as a whole.
Right.
They literally, the podcast I was on today, they played a clip for me to respond to, and it was a intellectual dropping of mic that said literally wokeism is just the next phase of feminism. And she went down the line about, because we start saying, well, facts don't matter, it's what I feel. And what I share with you off camera is, when you come out, people see Vince today as the great author and the documentarian, and the speaker. We know the stories about Vince as a football player for the University of Memphis and as a prison guard, law enforcement.
And cotton
If you
plantation, Vince.
Right. And if you but go to just what I share with you, when you talk about the football and the prison guard,
Right.
yeah, the people that are over you, your superiors, will probably curse you out daily if need to be. Because especially when you talk about working in a state or federal penitentiary, your life is on the line. I don't have time to worry about what
How
I
you
said
feel.
to you and how you received it. I'm trying to save your life. And
Right.
we've fallen too much in the modern context of the church, that we want hippie Jesus, and he's my homeboy, and we
Shampoo
play
model
this
Jesus.
game. Exactly correct.
The one with the lamb
Jesus,
on his shoulder.
yes, yes. And I'm like, and
My
play,
burden is easy.
yes, and play fast and loose with the scripture, and doctrine that does not leave room for our opinion on it, and that always leads to destruction and chaos. And again, look at where we are in society.
Right. All right, I'm gonna let this clip play, and then we have clip 2. This
Yes,
is still clip 1.
right.
Forced
It's
into it.
coming to the end.
Now we're on the other side of it. We still are being manipulated by those who are sitting at the top of the pyramid, who are exploiting our community for their purposes. To have the black family destroyed keeps us in a place of dependency, and the system facilitates the broken black family. You think it's incidental that most of the men in prisons across America are black men? Oh, that's because we're just criminals. We're bad people by nature. It's in our DNA. Oh, no. The system is doing that to us, and is doing it to us today. We need to tell that story. He is being built up by those who want to keep the system the way it is. And we need to say that. I'm going to his meeting to say that.
That don't
And
even
I know
make
it's not going
sense,
to be
though.
popular.
Hold on.
And I know when I get there, it's going to be mostly white folks, and I'm going to be probably one of 3 black people sitting in there while he tears Martin Luther King apart.
Absolutely. Tear down. Hold on. I just
We
have
here
one
for it.
pushback. How is the system, wouldn't the system not want to support what we're doing? Because
Right.
what we're doing would force people to recognize that agency, personal accountability, healthy doctrine of work, and getting away from the government and functioning your freedom, and marry before you carry, and let's focus on building the heteronormative nuclear family and don't abort your babies. Wouldn't that produce better outcomes than the government dependency that King was ultimately pushing? Which system is he talking about? Which
And
system?
that's my issue with, because Sean will say this is his platform, this is his show, he's the moderator, and I'm like, wait a minute. So where's the pushback? Where was the pushback on that? And at the same time, again, when at the beginning of this clip, April, Sean said that Pastor has been supporting black conservatives for a long time. Nothing that man just said is conservative. Nothing. So we got a problem. The math ain't mathing.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Are you in your feelings and the crash out is that bad that you love King that much? Or is it or are you a plant yourself? I think those questions are totally, are in order,
Valid.
because what he just right is valid because of what he said. This is not us putting words in his mouth, nor did Chad nor Vince put words in MLK's mouth in their documentaries. They let him speak for himself.
Facts. I don't know. You know how they say you hear a thing a million times before you hear
Right,
it once?
right.
I am just now like, I need a moment to sit. I need a moment. This your fault. I moved on. Like, to be fair, you guys, I don't take it personal when people have strong rebuke and commentary for my content. Like, I create
Yeah.
content for people to consume it and to engage with it. And if it makes you crash out, crash out. If it makes you say, praise Jesus, hallelujah, thank you for helping me see the light, do that too. It's all good. It doesn't matter to me. However, in the same vein, I will absolutely use your words to prove a point to my audience, because my goal is to absolutely educate, challenge, and transform the people I believe I've been called to serve.
Yes.
So, hey, the smoke goes both ways. It goes both ways.
Yes.
What did you
And
have anything to say about this part?
it that's, of course, this is, of course, Sean is reviewing the clip, because, as I told you, April gonna give me my props tonight. I told April last week, I said, this is not going away.
You
I
did say
said,
that.
because the work that we have been doing, and just where we are with it, just what we're dealing with, and we got to call things for what they are.
Right.
And I said, I think that we've just come too far, especially those supporters that log on all the time. That I mean, you know what we're seeing when we're out on the road, when we're doing screenings for Vince's work, and now we have screenings coming up for work. People are hungry for this,
They are.
because like you said, when your eyes were finally open and you had things exposed to you, first you're like in shock, and then you get angry, and then hopefully
Right.
after that you get activated to say, I don't want other people to be lied to and
And be
misled for as
deceived.
long as I have been. Exactly. And so, literally, when someone is saying that they are conservative, and this is something that you've been dealing with, these EBT conservatives,
Right.
the past 3 months, I was like, okay, it's one thing to have the title, but, are you just talking the talk, or are you walking what you talk?
Right. Like,
That's
is the
two different things.
worldview consistent with conservative
Right.
values?
Right.
I I am of the opinion that there is a penalty for lying to the strong.
Yes.
And to me, it is
As it
one of
should
the
be.
most freeing and humbling things to realize you've been lied to sit with that pain. Listen, go rock in a corner, shake, tremble, cry, throw stuff, do whatever you got to do. But once you finally have dealt with it and you rise from those ashes and you like, now I got to tell somebody, well, that's what happened to me. Don't think
Yeah.
that I didn't struggle with the information that I've been learning and reading the primary sources in their own words. Vince will tell you the times I picked up the phone, call him like, I'm mad as hell. I want to punch somebody in the throat. I can't believe this is what these people were doing. They knew they were ushering us down
Yes.
to the depths of degradation, and they did it
Absolutely.
all so they could usher us straight into the hands of the Democrat Party. And we wonder why we are still, to this day, the crash test dummies of the Democrats. It's his fault.
Right. And so I have no patience, April, then for someone like what they're going to go into next. And like you said, is it because it was in, this was their time of coming of age and this meant something different to them? Well, the results suck, sir.
They suck. Yes.
So, yeah, we're calling you out. No, you don't get a pass. Nobody gets a pass.
No. Wusa. Wusa. See, and I'm being nice this week. So nice.
You try. You
I'm
try.
trying.
I don't speak for Pastor Broden, nor does he speak for me. And if he makes some definitive statements, when I have people
Okay.
on the
We're listening.
panels, I'm looking to engage in conversation. I'm not there to police them. unless they say something completely off the rails. I'm not there to get into a debate with them. The whole point is for discussion to take place.
Now that's fair. That is fair. You know why? Because what people don't understand, when you're a content creator and you're moderating a panel, there's so many things going on at one time. And even if
Yes.
someone says something on your show, sometimes it doesn't hit you till after the fact, like, what you just say? You know what I'm saying? And then at that point, you're
Right.
like, you know what? I'm being gracious here. I'm like, yeah, I could have pushed back, or because it's happened to me. I've done an interview where I've cringed at something that someone has said. And then I have to remind myself that in the moment, especially if it's live, you're not trying to turn it into a debate. And I get that. So I'm willing to be gracious there.
Yes. Yes. And that's why I added that in. Yes.
Right. So I'm gonna let it keep playing.
Yeah.
Now, as you know, I don't believe in the victim mentality. I don't. I don't believe that decisions that we make are predicated upon what the white man does. I don't believe in that. I reject that wholeheartedly. So I get why people, when they hear what Pastor Broden had to say, why they would think that Pastor Broden was essentially giving black people an excuse for the debauchery. In my opinion, I don't think he was giving an excuse. He was trying to give context, but to be fair, I can see why people took it as he was saying it wasn't the black folks' fault for their situation. That they were in the predicament that they're in because it just happened to them. They were innocent bystanders in their own demise and their own oppression. Stop it. I don't believe that. I don't believe he's saying that. But
Now, to be clear, I never accused Sean of believing that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do want to at least tell my audience, y'all was a little rough because I never even engaged. First of all, Sean never even spoke a word in the clip that I reacted to. To be
Correct.
fair, I never walked away believing that. I didn't think that he believed that. The contention in the issue was somewhere else, but sadly now his explanation, it kind of made it worse. I'll let
Right.
it play, but I at least wanted to shout out to the big homie. Vince Eric Ellison has entered the chat. Y'all, when I tell y'all Vince don't enter the chat. He be in the chat, but he's not in the chat. This is major. We gotta immortalize this. I got to put it back up on the screen because what y'all have to understand, it is due to the labor and the sacrifice. Do not think that the positions that we hold and the content that we make is without consequence and counting the cost and paying a hefty price. You guys
Correct.
have no idea personally what we have to endure to say, I'm going to be brave enough to say it. Y'all, I live in the bastion of colored communism in Atlanta. This is King's
ATL.
birthplace. Do you know how hard it is for me to live here and then to experience the type of growth I've experienced, being like at the shortest and the smallest one, being at the front of the line, like, hey, I'll say it. I've counted the cost. I don't give a darn what you think about me. You're gonna get this truth. You're gonna get
But
it.
but April, but let me piggyback off that. Throw me the alley oop and let me go up to the rim like Jordan.
Do the
Because
layup.
we got Vito Corleone, Vince Ellison on with us, and that brought me to something when you said about counting the cost. Vince has been hammering that since that dinner table at you and Robert Chapman's home 2.5 years ago. And
Right.
so when people come at us with these accusations, and now Chad has been looped in about this, we're taking white money. And it's and like he said, now Sean said he did not show up, and Chad said he didn't show up. So both we have two people that say that the pastor didn't show up to confront Chad like he said that he was going to do. But like you said, when you're sharing with the audience tonight that behind the scenes, again, we don't play a game of going to white people asking for money for anything that we've done. And that's another thing that has connected us with Chad and Chuck. And to be with you guys behind the scenes, when, again, I was the one who was lobbying to connect April and Vince with Turning Point USA, was in the meeting with TPUSA Faith, and I'm just going to say it because Vince is on tonight.
Right.
When we met with the director of TPUSA Faith, and being gracious, he asked what could they do for us, and Vince said, no, it's what we can do for you.
Facts.
We don't ask for nothing from no one. We're doing this on our own. And if you want to partner with us and see what we do, but of course the MLK topic came up, and Don Vito did not back down. And that I was like, okay, well, it's on now. So that is some of the things that of why when we share with our audience that a lot of people say ride or die, but we've lived it, and especially if you letting Vince drive, because we're gonna get pulled over for him
There's a
driving
ride
like
or
a bat
die
out of hell.
component to it. Right. Y'all, he
But
really is Vito Corleone. Like, he rough. I done cried a couple of times, but I'm better for it.
But you, right, exactly. You respect that. Again, this is the largest conservative organization in America, if not the world. And we said, yeah, we're not here to ask for anything.
Facts. And listen, I'm not trying to be racist, but when you are in a room with power players and they expect you to come like the EBT conservative begging for some money, and you be like, oh, no, you got this messed up. We don't want nothing from you. You misunderstood. It's how we help you. You don't help us. It's the other way around. And people are not used to that. They don't even have a framework for what that looks like, because it's always been the other way around. It's always been give us free. We're always the one going to them with our hands out like, well, can y'all put 5 on it? It's the other. We roll with Vince. It's like, oh, you must ain't heard who I am. It's the other way around.
I gotta, April, y'all gonna kill me. I gotta give the audience a visual. You know how I am. I said, look, rolling up in Gainesville, Georgia, Vince was in there like Nino Brown, and I'm over there like the Stutter Man. April over there like Keisha, rock-a-bye, baby.
That is the perfect imagery. Now, to be fair, everybody died, okay, in New Jack City, so I don't want that in. Like, I'm not trying to get shot. Keisha took a bullet. She like, I'm standing in front of the bullet for everybody. And they lit her little behind up. I don't want to be Keisha. I don't want to go out like Keisha. Okay?
I'm telling people, Vince, you know we love you. I'm like, Vince, I'll wait out in the lobby. Vince like, wait out in the lobby. You with the big dog. You with me. You in the meeting. I'm like, okay, I'm in the meeting. Well, let's go.
You were crazy. No, but we have to dispel that myth. And listen, y'all just, maybe everybody ain't built for this, but we really, I've learned so much being in this space that the people with true influence are not the ones that go with their hand out, but it's the ones that go like, you need me more than I need you.
Watch what we're doing. Correct.
Right. Because everybody, do you know how many white organizations are deathly afraid to even touch what we're doing? I've gone on Newsmax too, where they want me to say it, but then they're like, well, don't go that far. I'll be like, you called the wrong person. What you called me for? Right. What did you think was going to happen when you called me and asked me my thoughts on King and the Civil Rights Movement? I don't know what you heard, but I'm not your girl. You got to call somebody else for that. I'm not going to lie to people. If you want me to extol the virtues of this movement, I'm not your girl. Correct. I'm not doing it. And I've counted the cost. So let's finish though. We clowning like we ain't got nowhere to go tomorrow. I mean, we don't, but.
I'm not speaking with Pastor Brolin. Pastor Brolin is a grown man. He can say what he needs to say. What I would say is that I don't believe that. I believe, personally, I do believe that there's a system in America, a system to keep poor people poor and to keep people that are dumb, and to keep you ignorant to what's really going on. I do believe that there is a system. However, if you are a born again Christian, you are above that system. That system has no bearing on you. But too many people that look like me have allowed that system to impact how they live. And so, therefore, they make excuses for their plight, for their situation, instead of recognizing that they fell prey to the system because they allowed themselves to fall prey to the system, either by having children too early, not finishing school, getting caught up in drugs, getting caught up with being involved in crime, separating from the mother of their children, allowing their children to be raised without a man in the home, the man abandoning the family. A whole bunch of things have contributed to where we are today. And I do believe the government has been complicit in it. I do believe, see, that's one of the things that I talk about, that a lot of people who like to bash the civil rights movement and other stuff don't talk about. They don't talk about how the Moynihan report was rejected. They don't talk about how the Great Society programs and the No Man in the House program exacerbated things that were already there in the community. Now, like I said over and over again, that doesn't give an excuse for the behavior. That does not excuse the people for bowing down to the will of the government. It just gives you context.
Okay, so we needed to engage with that. He
Yes,
brought up the
absolutely.
Moynihan report, but what he fails to acknowledge is that that report was actually rejected by the black leadership. It was the civil rights leaders that were the ones that rejected that. It wasn't the
Right.
white racists.
Right. I put it like this, April. We didn't get here because the Moynihan report was wrong. We got here because black leaders ignored it.
Right, like Moynihan is coming in like, yo, we have a
This is a
problem in the
problem.
black community. If we don't do something, like this out of wedlock birth rate is it's going to completely cannibalize the black community. But
Correct.
what right, so I'll let you go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah, but that is why that's why I kept that part in, because we were agreeing with everything that Sean was putting down, but I'm like, did he really realize how he just contradicted himself? And so that is why, again, I go back to why it's so important what we're doing, and and when I say we, that includes, working with Chad O. Jackson, because he is laying this out for the first time. Like I told you, I've been waiting for this for 30 years.
You did.
When was this going to be produced and put together for the masses to see, to actually call out those who are responsible for this? And it's plain and simple, April. The black elites, the aristocracy, they chose ideology over Christianity and family structure.
Right,
And
like
we're
they
still paying
actually
the price for it.
chose the welfare policies and
Yes,
pushed that as opposed to saying, well, let's deal with this fatherless issue and figure out what can we do to put the black man back in charge of his family. It was the
correct.
civil
And so
rights community that said, oh, let's that man in the house clause, we need to make sure
we
that's a component of it to incentivize
bingo.
it. As a matter of fact, I can't remember, I think it's Abernathy who, before he died, realized when he realized that welfare. Now, I got smoke for Abernathy when he was running with
Hmm.
King and just
Hmm.
was deceived and complicit as all get out. Even Abernathy at the end of his life realized that, wait a minute, these black politicians, they want the welfare because it's
Correct.
keeping the black community controlled. And as long as they're controlled, they stay in power. That's when he realized, he was like, oh, I'm done with y'all. I'm so done.
Correct.
Y'all actually want this government dependence. This is the same man that organized the Poor People's Campaign that was
And
begging the
Washington.
government for welfare. And so I'm being gracious by saying even Abernathy, who was absolutely advocating for socialism and pushing Marxism, the older he got, he actually realized, wait a minute, y'all really don't care about the poor. You just want them dependent and families destroyed, and you don't really care about these people at all.
Correct. And April, So go back, look at the contrast between Abernathy and Pastor Broden. Which one is the conservative and which one is the leftist? See, that was the part that I was trying to bring out, because he says on Sean's panel that now that we're on the other side, yet then turned around and still blamed all of these systems when the systems was there, but who made the deal with the devil?
The blacks, the
Thank you.
very people that he wants us to celebrate and idolize and say, shh, don't talk about that.
Right.
No, we're
And so
talking about it.
yes, we are talking about it. And like you said, that Abernathy realized near the end of his life, of course, his book and him endorsing Reagan, and he said why he endorsed Reagan. Again, this is 20 years or 15 years into it. They saw it then. That's the 80s. That was 40 years ago now. And so this man still got up here and then said, well, it's not our fault. And this is what was put on us. Dude, are you kidding? I had to catch myself. Are you kidding? Are you really kidding? Are you being real right now with us? And that's why when people say, Vince is a headhunter, but this is why. Because it's like I told you, April, you laugh about us always giving you these football analogies. It's like, son, you don't see the crackback coming yet? They don't ran it 5 times in a row. I gotta pull you, son. Because if you don't figure it out, they're going to keep doing it. And we are still with the NAACP tonight talking about dry ice, literally supporting the immigrants that are taking our community, taking over our community and the resources. Exactly. What Trump said, black jobs.
Trump is so funny. I like how you put that. I really appreciate how you put that. And I think the idol has to be torn down.
Absolutely.
And nobody said this process was going to be easy. And nobody said it wasn't going to hurt and there were not going to be some casualties. I am confident that the contradictions that were raised here, they're going to be evident. And they may not like or appreciate them being highlighted and discussed publicly. That's fair. Right. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop, though. I'm not
Absolutely
trying.
Not.
Like I said, it is what it is. I cannot be silent if I see our people down in a pit and they don't even realize that you can crawl out of this pit. But at least it helps you to understand how you got into this pit. And the people who claim that they're putting his hand down in the pit to pull you out, they ain't trying to pull you out. They want you right there in the pit. And I'm not going to give them any excuses or wiggle room. They're not going to wiggle their way out of this. We're talking about it.
Absolutely.
We're talking about
this can't, we're past the point of this being sugar-coated. This has been sugar-coated for 30 to 40 years. And it's only gotten worse. And now if you didn't understand the play that's being ran, and you don't see that literally this party brought 12 to 20 million illegals over here to replace you, then I got some beachfront property here in Central Florida to sell you.
Y'all do got some pretty lakes. That don't count?
Nah, that don't count unless you on that book of sugar. You are high out of your mind.
Let's continue. Hold on.
It is, yes.
I made a video talking about this, and I'm familiar with these people. Pastor Broden is part of that Moses generation, that generation that experienced Jim Crow, segregation, all those kinds of things. A person that experienced that has a jaded view of America. They do. You got the Moses generation, and then you got the Joshua generation. The Moses generation is going to always look at the past and have a hard time with what happened to them unless they have fully been born again and have fully been renewed in their mind, because these people experience things that, quite frankly, I haven't experienced. Growing up in Mississippi, I've heard stories about some things that people really experienced during that time.
Listen, I get it hearing the stories. A lot of people have heard stories. I mean, I've listened to my father-in-law talk about stories where his white math teacher would try to discourage him from, exploring higher ordered math. And I'm listening to him. I'm like, but you explored it anyway. So are you gonna sit back and complain about what the white man said, or do your outcomes demonstrate that he was wrong and you push past the barrier? Like, I'm like, you don't get a cookie for being a victim. You don't.
Correct. Correct.
The racism was very much real. I am not saying that there aren't these trauma lived experiences. I just take issue with, if we're going to use the Moses generation versus the Joshua generation, let's examine why Moses and his generation never made it to the promised land. Them Negroes wanted to go back to Egypt. They wanted
Correct.
the comforts of Egypt, as opposed to, we got to learn to function in our freedom. He has delivered us. We've watched him part the Red Sea, and we walked across on dry land. He gave us manna. Like, manna is literally, what is this? That's what it means. It's just like,
Yes.
we don't know what this is, but it is sustenance and food for our souls and our body. Like, people who saw these miracles, if even they grumbled and complained and wanted to go back to the comforts of slavery in Egypt, we don't give them an excuse. They
Right.
ended up suffering the penalty of their disobedience and their idolatry.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Sounds familiar? Sounds familiar? That's all I got on that. Hit it. Yeah. he gonna keep going.
You want me to keep playing it?
Yes.
I've heard those kinds of horror stories. And so I understand where they're coming from. I do. I get where they're coming from. I truly get where they are coming from. Now, do I think that is an excuse for their behavior? Of course not. That's probably the perspective that Pastor Broden's coming from. But you can't immediately dismiss it because you don't agree with it.
But I can.
Yeah, exactly. Where is it? Flag on the play.
Flag on the plate.
I dismissed it because it was complete false. It was completely false. That's why I dismissed it. We don't disagree with it because we didn't like it. This man literally took what white people think and what white conservative seminaries did and placed that above the power of Jesus. No, son,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
that does not work.
I understand the balance of saying, well, the older people in our lives experience some trauma, and that is the perspective they come from. But if that trauma leads them to a false premise or a bad conclusion, do we not love them enough? Like, I've watched Chad do this with Carol Swain and have a
Yes.
conversation to reason her, get her to a place where she was like, you know what? I mean,
This is right.
this is right.
He's right. Yeah.
Now, you can be stubborn and wrong, and I'm not
What
going
we
to
saw
love you
here?
in your stubborn foolishness. I'm like,
Absolutely
no.
not. Absolutely not.
I have some notes here where we're never allowed to exempt false ideology or false teaching because of trauma.
Correct.
You can be empathetic, but toxic empathy can be exercised to a point where you allow a person to explain away or excuse the truth, or to reject the truth because of their trauma.
Correct.
I don't know Pastor Broden's lived experience. I don't. I just know two things can be true at the same time. For example, Vince grew up on a cotton plantation with no indoor plumbing. There is an example of some people who had experiences with racism or injustice and handled it completely different. And I don't believe that we can look back at that time and still today claim to have victory in Jesus and still want to cling to our trauma as an excuse to explain away today's dysfunction.
Correct.
I just
And
go ahead.
and think about it like this also, April. There is no Moses generation exemption clause in the New Testament.
It's not.
What are we doing? So, like when you start saying that basically it's because of what they lived. Listen, we can go to every group that has ever walked on the face of the earth and find trauma.
Right. Like I have an aunt that grew up in a depression, and no matter how much money she earned, this woman would still wash aluminum foil.
Yeah.
This woman, when I went to visit her when my twins were born, and I was, hey, I'm coming down to Alabama to visit the twins. My aunt had old food in the refrigerator that she refused to throw out because in her mind, the depression could come back. And I'm like, we got to get you some therapy. Because, Auntie, you're going to kill me up in here. I can't eat this. This salad dressing is from 4 years ago. I was like, we starved. I went in that refrigerator. I said, ain't no way. I don't know how the Lord blessed her with the years, the long life that she died in her 80s. And I was
She
like,
built up a
she
tolerance.
got a gut of steel. Because I threw up just thinking about eating what was in that refrigerator. I said, oh God, Cam, my baby's here. I was like, where's the closest grocery store? I
we go,
didn't want to be rude, but
we
y'all
gonna
know
bless
me.
you, Auntie. We
I
gonna
don't
bless
hold
you,
my tongue for
Auntie.
nobody. I was like, Auntie, I love you, but you trying to poison us, and we can't eat this. She cooked a spread that, and this is when I was in my really crunchy days, holistic. If it wasn't organic and non-GMO, I wasn't touching it. She frying like turkey bacon and soybean oil, and the soybean oil looked older than my baby. I was like, oh, I'm gonna die. I was like, Robert, I'm gonna die. He was like, he was like, eat the pancakes. I don't know how old that flour is. I can't do it. No, the
It's,
syrup.
it's something about Alabama.
I'm living through the trauma. Oh, like I can taste it. She grew up in a depression, and I was like, I can't excuse this. I said, we taking you grocery shopping. How old is this foil? Oh, I've rinsed the foil. Why? You have money in the bank, Auntie. She's like, I grew up in a depression, and we just didn't, lady. I was like, it's 2012. What are you doing?
But April, that's hilarious. But it is literally people that we have in our families. I think a lot of the audience has it. They'll let us know in the chat. But they literally see white people the same way.
Right.
That they cannot let go. And in many cases, when we sit down and break it down, it wasn't what happened to them directly.
No, it's
And
stories they heard.
correct. And so we're like, do you understand that the word of God says you have to let that go?
Right.
It's not an option. And you talk about historical trauma. I mean, we have trauma from our siblings,
Facts.
our relatives. I mean, you met Debo. I'm like, this scar on my hand. He stabbed me in the hand over some Cheez-Its when we had children.
Listen, I
I'm like, I'm
can't
gonna hate him now.
I can't even eat peanut butter. Like Vince one time asked me, he was like, what is your issue with peanut butter? He's like, every time I pull it out, you like start. I be like, bro,
She has a visceral reaction,
keep
like
keep the peanut. I don't have a peanut allergy, y'all. I don't. I just don't like
you
peanut butter.
thought
My
she
brother,
did.
it's peanut butter and raisins. Like, get them things away from me. They look like roaches. I can't do
Yeah.
it.
Listen, I've seen that in person. If
I
the
need
audience think
deliverance.
you're kidding, yeah, we
So
don't seen that in person.
the point I'm making is a lot of this hatred and animus and let's blame the system. I'm not
Right.
saying that's the case here. Comes from a root of bitterness and unforgiveness.
Yes.
Like if we're honest, even some older blacks still have a visceral, they feel some sort of kind of way about white folks. They
Correct.
do, because of what
Correct.
one white person or 10 or 20 or a teacher may have done for them. And I'm like,
And
let's lay that at the foot of the cross, though.
yeah, because here's the thing, April. Then if you, and Sean said it, that if they haven't been delivered from that, well, if you haven't been delivered from that, then why are you in leadership?
Mm.
Because you're giving some bad advice and leading other people, Moses generation. No, you don't get a pass. Y'all were the ones that took the bad deal. You took
Yeah.
the bad deal and followed these
These degenerates.
these degenerates and these pedophiles and sodomites. You did that.
Every
No,
last
you got
one
to
of
own
them.
that.
Frank,
You have to own that.
James Bevel, Jesse, Martin, all of them was something wrong with, like, sexual deviance.
Because
Just
we were too busy
crazy.
saying the white man's ice is cold, and as long as we get over there, it don't matter how deranged and demonic you are, as long as you get us over there, and that has been a total disaster. So yeah, you don't get a pass because you the Moses generation.
All right, let's continue. Ooh, you sure be picking some long clips.
You can't
My
immediately
bad.
dismiss it and then try to hide behind some other stuff
What
just
stuff?
because he said some things that you may disagree with. You're gonna immediately dismiss it.
Yes.
Pastor Bro and I don't
It
see
wasn't that we
eye to eye on
disagreed
everything.
with it.
We've disagreed before, but I respect him. Number one, as a man of God, and number two, as an elder in America and in the community. So I respect him. I do. I respect that. And so I'm not going to be on here just constantly arguing with him. I'm not going to be disrespectful to him because, you respect your elders. You respect your elders. You honor them. Doesn't mean you agree with them and everything they say, but you honor and respect them. And that's what's missing a lot in America in particular nowadays. People don't have respect for elders anymore, man. People don't have respect for people seeing things a different way. If you don't see things the way they want you to see them, they immediately go into attack or get defensive. We gotta stop that as Christians. We gotta stop that. And so
Did you have anything you want to say there?
Yeah, the digital matadoring is off the chain. It's like because we
Wait.
dancing
Did
with
you
that.
say matter?
Yes, we dancing with that. Again, you don't have to be calling out an elder when they're wrong. It's not being dishonorable to them.
Right. I agree.
You
I
know,
mean,
we
Chad and Dr. Swain, he is absolutely old enough to probably be his grandbaby, her
correct.
grandbaby. And he loved her enough to engage and push back and to bring her based on saying we need to examine the historical accounts, the primary
Right.
sources, look at my scholarship. You ain't got the light. Y'all remember the movie not Birds. What was it called? The one with Sandra Bullock, where it was something in the air, and if you opened your eyes and you saw it, you would die. And they're like, what is the movie? Y'all know the movie I'm talking about. Not Birds. What was it called? I know y'all know what this you've never seen the
April,
movie I'm talking about?
this is stuff she been watching from her insomnia nights. I was like,
Probably. It
do they
was
know in the chat?
for
The chat gonna have to help you out. Go ahead,
Sandra Bullock,
Sandra
and
Bullock.
it was like you had to Bird Box. Thank you. Did you see Bird Box?
No, I did
Oh,
not.
Bird Box was this movie where like you had to walk around with blindfolded, because if you looked at, was it the birds? Like the birds were sensitive to this thing in the air, and it's weird. But if you have to been there, if you saw Bird Box, you would understand what I'm talking about. Chad was literally like with Dr. Swain, like, open your eye, you got to see this. And
Yes. Yeah.
My chat understands me. Okay, they
We
understand me.
we love you, Dr. Swain. We
I'm gonna find it. Oh God.
she'll gave us some hot flash reenacting Bird Box. It's like- it's like- yeah, but he doubled down again on this thing of saying that if you disagree, that we can disagree, and then move the goalposts again, saying that that's what's wrong today is that we don't respect our elders. I'm not respecting you if you own foolishness. If
I
you're
respect
on
my elders enough to
foolish,
tell them the truth.
yes, and if you're on foolishness that we've seen that is now basically bankrupt three whole generations, that where it's common that what we say bastards having
Raising
bastards.
bastards.
What do we? You know, you don't get a again as Anton Dane said, you don't get a pass. You
Listen,
you have to eat that. You got to own that.
I red pilled my own mama, and I had to confront her with the, "Why you been voting Democrat your whole life?"
Correct.
She was like, "What you mean?" And at some point, we had to have the conversation, and we went down to policies. I was like, "You believe this? You are you in full support of deleting babies up to the 9th month, having your grandchildren be subject to all of this sexual perversion and your kids, your grandbabies ain't in the school system. At least some of them are not, but some of them are."
Right.
And I'm like, is this the worldview? You want us to be perpetually tied to the government's hip, where all they can offer us is welfare and government dependence? Is this you? I said, because you worked 32 years for the Bronx DA's office, retired at age 55. You got a pension and Social Security. If you, as a single mama, could get it out the mud to take care of yourself, do you really want our tax dollars to take care of all these other people? What was my mama supposed to
Bingo.
say? At some point, she was just like, I
I
mean,
got to sit with this. I got
I
to eat
get,
this.
she ain't nothing to say. Took her right up there. I was like, now who we voting for? Say it with me. I was like, hold your nose. I know you don't like them. I know. But you go
Say,
cast your vote the right way. That's what you go do. I love my mama. And everybody, I love them enough to tell them the truth. I can't, I may, and this could be a cultural thing. I'm
yeah,
from New York. I don't, I'm Southernized, but I don't come preloaded with certain Southern sensibilities like my Southern counterparts. I'm open to the criticism about that.
yes, yes.
It just is what it is. But
And,
like
and,
you
and
said, you don't. I can't give you a pass if I know you're leading us toward a path that is dangerous and not beneficial for us.
right.
I have
And
to
then
say something.
and again, scripture is consistent where elders are held to a higher account. And so again, how are you leading people and then giving them this buffet of victim, a victim buffet, and and then calling out everybody else and saying that it's this white money that we're getting because we want
Right.
the support of white people when the whole platform that you defended, sir, was created by white liberals and leftists.
My whole platform is like, stop begging the white man for stuff. I'm
Bingo.
trying to help my audience see that you don't need the white man's approval or his money to do whatever it is that you believe God has called you to do. So why is that like that is so inconsistent for that to be an accusation hurled at me? And like I said, I'm not gonna take it back. I know some of y'all think the only way black folks can do stuff is the white man got his hand in it. I
Like you
function
said,
in my freedom. I love white folks.
underestimate us at your peril.
Hey, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Now I'm with
Let,
Christ Center
let,
here. What?
exactly. Yes. Correct. But see well, what it is that is a emotional manipulation. That's a play, and we've seen this a lot. In these bankrupt churches, April. That again, if you question stuff, and we've all been through this, that then it's your disres. That's the play that's made when they can't defend the argument and they get caught in their own hypocrisy and pushing this, basically this Afrostocracy, boule madness in the pulpit. This is what they lean on. And so
Right.
that's why I left that in there to say, no, that Sean, we can't do that. That's not a cop out that because he's an elder, that's obviously an error. So it
So
don't
are
it
are you arguing that this is the equivalent to the charismatic saying, "Don't put your mouth on the man of
bingo.
God"?
Correct. Correct. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yes.
I mean, that'll shut down a whole lot of conversations.
And it has, and again, and so people stay, and you've spoken openly about this in your own journey, and then people stay in these unbiblical dens of demons, sometimes for decades.
Right.
They're getting exploited for their money, false prophecy, prophet lying, and these, fake healings
The
and
Lord told me your
these
husband
things.
is in this
uh,
congregation right now. You like, but all these people here are convicts. They all been to jail. And the
and
other half are
married.
gay.
And married. You
And
pointing out somebody
married.
else's husband, somebody that's your husband. Yes, but this is but like we're using, some very extreme examples, April, but
Right.
this is could be more dangerous because it's more subtle. And this
Mm.
is
Oh,
why this is and why there's this kind of shock, this reaction to how people like Vince, you and Chad are laying it down is because they have not heard this before. And it's long overdue. Unfree Sean Mouth because he got this. You wrong for that.
oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't.
I have made that argument that Pastor Broden made. Nah, I wouldn't have made that argument.
And I
I would
believe
not
that.
have.
I don't think he would have.
I
But
do.
for me, as a sign of respect for the elder generation, for what they did, I allowed him to speak
What did
and to
they
speak
do
his mind.
though? Well, let's examine what they
Right.
did.
Right. That they ushered in this foolishness. And so that is exactly why I had the issue with it. And that's why I said sometimes the defense of the original offense can be even worse. Because
Right.
and to try to justify it, we're digging a deeper hole here in real time. But I
Right.
do think that I honestly, like I said, I've never met Sean, but I think that, like you said, a lot of times you're dealing with things in real time, but this is him removed from it, and
Right.
he's reacting to the backlash that came his way. And I'm like, yeah, we got to own it and not double down and try to basically use bad analogies to justify that, because that you just eat it and own it. You can't
Right.
justify it.
You know what my mother told me? My mother admitted that the baby, now she's technically silent generation,
Yes.
but she admitted that the baby boomers really did jack us up. My mother was willing to at least admit that they bought into the feminism lie. They bought into, really not disciplining your children and all of those things and the outcomes that it produced. She owned up to that and admitted that, we didn't want to raise our children the way we were raised, and now y'all a bunch of hellions.
Right.
And I'm like, it really takes a lot of humility, especially for a woman, to be like, this is our fault. We jacked y'all up. We
Yes.
did. I think in the same way, some of us have to be willing to love our elders enough to say, listen, based on
This
the
is wrong.
outcomes, pimp, and I love you, but the
Right.
outcomes, we can't extol the virtues of what it is that you want us to hold up as virtuous when we look at the
When it was a
outcomes and we
disaster.
can draw a direct link and line to say it is your support and advocacy of these lies that have contributed to where we are today. And I know there's a right way and a respectful way to say that. Yeah,
Yes.
everybody don't
Yeah.
have to deliver it. I deliver the medicine where I'm holding you back and I'm stuffing it down your mouth. I do. I ask
Yes.
my kids. They be like, "Mama, you hurt." Shut up. Shut up. It's 'cause they know I love them. They know I'm a
Shout out
little
to
rough,
Hannah.
right? They
Shout out to
know.
Hannah.
But the next day when they wake up, listen, they just be like, "Whenever you sick, go to mama. She gonna make sure she get you right." Now I am
Listen.
compassionate, but I want that mama that if I saw you fall and scrape your knee because you did something I told you, I'm not gonna baby you. I'm like, see, that's what you get. They're gonna put some colloidal silver on your knee, and I bet you won't do that again.
I hope Vince still watching because April tried to justify. April, listen, y'all go to April if you sick if you want to. You end up like I did. Yeah, look at her face. April will
You
make a
felt better, didn't you?
concoction.
You felt
I
better, didn't
did.
you?
I woke up in the middle of the night in there talking to Vince, and he won't even know if Vince about to pull his gun. So here in there walking, talking to inanimate objects. I was like, April put some kind of brew together, that witch hazel drink she made. I'm like, I
Did you
was
say
better the
witch
next day.
hazel?
I was hallucinating. Thought I was playing in the Super Bowl, running in the Vince door.
You
Y'all mess with
telling
April if you want. I feel sorry for Isaiah and Brandon. April had them in there running outside.
that has never happened because my children, since they were youth, okay, they understand. I don't know why you had that reaction, but you felt better the next day.
I did.
All
I
right then.
did.
So what you complaining for?
Vince say I spent 7 years in the penitentiary. Him in there making so many noise, I locked my door.
Did he say? Is that what he told you? Oh God.
Vince say, what's wrong with you, boy? Vince say, I want to have to shoot you tonight. Oh, but listen, when the behind the scenes film come out from Vince projects, people gonna be like, how did y'all get anything done?
I don't know if we can even show some of that because y'all so
We can't.
crazy.
We can't.
Y'all, Basically, what Henry is trying to say is that my methods may be unorthodox, but they
Oh
work.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
they work, and
You gonna
perhaps
be in the ER or heels.
perhaps I can work on. Listen, this is how the Lord made me. Okay, now from a sanctification perspective, maybe I can practice a little bit more empathy. But the message is for the people who it's for. And if it's not for you,
Correct.
someone else will come along and the Lord will send somebody that's gonna rub your back. Okay.
There you go.
I don't mother
I'm
that
look,
way.
I'm team time out for the back rubbing.
I don't
Back
rub your
rubbing how
back.
we got here. Yeah,
I ain't
back
rubbing your
rubbing how we
back.
got here.
I am not. I will yoke you up in the chest and be like, look at what you
Thank
did
you.
to us.
Thank
All
you.
right, let's get through this clip because we got one more to
Go
go.
ahead.
Is it
Yeah, the
almost
other one's real short.
midnight? The
Yes, the other one's
devil.
very short.
So you want to just go straight to the other clip?
He's at the end of this, yes.
Not really, but okay, that works.
Yeah, you can go.
Okay, let's do this one. This one's
Yeah.
short.
When they said this,
Yes.
I've noticed on 2 occasions where I watched that older man kvetch and cry victim on Sean's panel, and Sean gave little to no pushback on what the old guy was saying. Some of his commentary was just nuts. Yeah, guilty as charged. Like I've said, the whole point of the panels is not necessarily for me to push back.
And I get that.
I'm not moderating in that sense. I'm not David Muir and the people from ABC News that were trying to shut Trump up. That's what I want to hammer home tonight. The most important thing that we do is to give people the truth of the word of God in a way that they can receive it and consume it. Because people will not receive from you if they feel like you don't care about them. That's my whole point. If people feel that all you do is bash them and look down upon them, they're not going to receive from you. So in order for people to receive from
Correct.
I disagree with that.
Correct.
Because what's being interpreted is bashing is accountability and
Right.
truth and honesty. Like if you out here twerking, I'm gonna tell you out here twerking and you giving hoe vibes. I don't know another way to say that. I can't clean up. Well, baby, sometimes, when you dance, your pelvis just moves in a way that's slightly inappropriate. I'm like, why is your hotel out here and you twerking? What is this whoredom? What is this harlotry? Like
Absolutely. And
I'll
again,
let you take this.
well, this is, like you said, this is a play on not being held accountable. when we start saying, well, you don't have to bash. Well, it wasn't a bash. Holding you accountable is not bashing. And this is what I said. This is more of this matriarchal mindset.
Mm.
Because again, when you deal with men, and you've definitely been around, you have a team of, well, you have a family around you, but you have a team of brothers,
I
and
do.
and the head of the team being Robert Chapman himself, that are straight shooters.
Right.
And
They don't
like,
leave
like you're
room for
sharing with the audience,
excuses.
you've had your feelings hurt or more than a couple of times in the last 3 years that we've been here to witness. But did you die?
No, I didn't die. I
and,
didn't
and you
die.
would come back later, and we've all been on the phone. Me and Robert have talked, you and I talked, and you and Vince, and said, you know what, now I get it.
I get it.
I see where y'all were coming from, and yeah, that it's like you said, if you're walking out in the traffic and you don't see, are we gonna say, well, maybe you'll be okay? Or are we gonna snatch you back and say, fool, what you doing?
Right. And I'm glad you brought up the matriarchal squalor,
Hmm.
because as I was telling you earlier today, I was raised by a single mother, and I had no
Right.
history or experience of what male headship or leadership looked like. And I'm grateful to God that Robert caught me when I was young enough. We met when I was
Yes.
25, to where I was still a little malleable and still pliable, to where he could say, hey, let me explain something to you. This is how the real world works. Okay. And we'd have these conversations that pushed against my deeply held presuppositions. And I'm not going to lie, they were not easy conversations. But I had this
Yes.
very feminized, idealistic way of viewing the world. And he
Yes.
would use these analogies, like you and Vince always come to me with these sports analogies. It's always
Yes.
football and
Boxing.
mafia motifs. And Robert would
Yes.
use the animal kingdom. He was like, listen, and I've learned my mindset and feelings and emotions are trained to understand what you guys are trying to tell me. And
Yes.
there's not such an emotional pull anymore, because I'm just like, the way the world is not how I wish it to be. And my
Correct.
feelings are irrelevant in so many aspects of truth and objectivity. And I
Absolutely.
find that so many of us, we have a matriarchal estrogen rich bent to,
Yes. And
like,
that's
this is
by
why,
design.
right, people had issues with, like, when I came across Kevin Samuels, obviously, an argument can be made that he was not this example of Christian virtue. That wasn't
Correct.
why
That's
I
true.
liked Kevin Samuels. I've never
Hmm.
affirmed that he was a believer. Kevin
Right.
Samuels was a gift to Black women, because for once we had someone that would talk to us and tell us what we needed to be told, and had the
Not what you
bravery
wanted
and
to
the
hear.
guts to do it, and be like, I don't give a darn how you feel about it. This is what is. And
Absolutely.
so I was more than prepared, and my mindset was trained to not take personal what Kevin would say, because I'd be like, Robert been talking to me like this since I've known him. And then to meet y'all two, y'all both crazy. You and Vince, I'm just like, man, listen.
April sit in the back of the SUV like a child.
That was me, because I'm just, it's brutal. It is brutal. But you need that. It it
Yes.
it it the fruit of righteousness was the result, and I'm grateful for it. I can't explain it. You got to either be about that life and be built for it, or you're not. I don't know. I
Right.
don't know.
But what you see, April, is when you're not about it, you see the different culture that it produces. And so that's why, in all seriousness, with the things, the crash out that the pastor was on, and I share with you, and the three of us the four of us, actually, Robert included, have talked about this before. We have refugees from the Congo, from Cuba, from Venezuela,
Dwayla.
from China, that are in our lifetime that have came over here and figured it out.
They sure
Well,
have.
they don't have a culture of this whole victimhood, number
Or
one,
excuses.
or
Like they don't even
excuses. And
speak the language, and they don't be like, "Well, no
right,
speaking no
they have
English."
no
Like,
right. They have no idea what you're talking about, and it's very and the patriarchy is overwhelming.
right.
You're going to get different results.
Results.
It's not magic. It's not.
It's not. You're right. I mean, I think about all of the times. These are not people's real names, but there would be these Hispanic couples that would walk into my furniture store. We're gonna call them Maria
Mhm.
and Pablo.
You use
Pablo,
Pablo all the time. Can we get Hector up in here? Get Hector.
Hector, like Hector would come in,
Thank you.
barely speaking any English, and he would eye a sectional. And he wouldn't say, "Can I help you?" No, he don't want no help. He sees the sectional that he wants. He looks at it. He's looking at the dimensions, the color. And then maybe 2 days later, Hector comes back with Maria. He asks Maria, "You like it?" And Maria's like, "No." She'll say she likes it, and they'll sit and they'll talk about it. And then Hector comes up to the counter. "We want to get it. We check them out. You need delivery?" No. Somehow a truck manifests with Jose. They back it up. Mind you, Maria, no, did I say Consuela?
Well, you went to Maria. It's her middle name.
Okay, Maria, she got like 3-4 babies in tow. They happy. They got on their little sparkly dresses and shoes. Like they ain't going to church. It's just Monday morning. But the baby girl, she got her
Facts.
quinceañera on, and she too. Right?
Facts.
They load up the sectional. Maria is just smiling and happy. "Honey," and they pay cash. Let Leroy and Brenda come in. Leroy
I can't
come
take it.
in. Brenda
She
opening
said,
up the door, walking in like a linebacker, like she a whole fullback. Leroy rolling his eyes because he been with Brenda. She getting on his ever-loving nerves. And I come in, Robert addressed Leroy, "Hey, how can I help you?" Brenda gonna butt in the conversation.
yeah, Leroy don't speak.
No, Leroy ain't even allowed to have an opinion. Robert be like, "Okay, so Leroy, what do you think?" And he get ready to say something. She be like, "I'm he don't know nothing." I'm acting this out because I live this. He don't know nothing. I mean, talking about him like he ain't even there. And I'm looking at Leroy like, "You just gonna let Big Brand, like, you just gonna let her punk you like this?" And I was like, "Don't you live there too?" And he like, happy wife, happy life. I'd be like,
Mm.
"Okay, I ain't saying nothing. I'm just laughing." Robert is trying to close the sale. Leroy like, "Look, if this what Brenda want, let's just get it." We get it to the house. Because Brenda has taken over everything, she ain't let Leroy measure the space to see if the sectional fit. My delivery team get there. The sectional don't fit. Brenda want to act a fool. Brenda gonna show out, talking about, asking for all these concessions, and we like, "Brand." Like our sales receipt would say, "Make sure you measure your space, because when we get there, like it's gonna be a problem." Leroy holding his head because he like, "Look, it don't fit. Let them take it back. We gotta get something else." Brenda don't care. Brenda want what she want. She wants us to magically make the sectional shrink so she can get it. Now Leroy and Brenda arguing. My delivery team on the phone with me, Miss April. They like, "You hear her?" I be like, "All right, she's showing a hotel." Put Brenda on the phone. Now I got to get involved and talk to Brenda, because if Robert do it, it's gonna go left. Because he like, "She ain't my wife. I don't give a damn." It's a whole headache.
Production.
Whole
Yes.
production. I mention this because culturally, it's something different. The dysfunction is just next level. The respect and admiration. that Maria
because
would
of lack
have
of
for
accountability.
Pablo, because Pablo done worked on the construction site. I mean, he coming in with his construction boots, his hands is dirty. He a little, he's smelling a little tart, but he knows he had to come up there because Consuelo said, Pablo, mommy wants a new sofa. Look at this. Look, it's falling apart. Can you please give me a new sofa? He like, I want to make her happy. She ain't giving them no problems. She just showing up. Yes, I like it. No, I like it. We getting it. Pay for it. Pick it up. It's all good.
Facts. So that April, that leads back to again about this whole Moses generation, because I was like, for and honoring them for what they did, and that's why we push back. Well, what did you do? Because you ushered this in. This was not how our grandparents functioned.
It's not.
Th-
It's
This
not.
this started with the rejection of the Moynihan report and the racial grievance industrial complex.
These women come in completely, emasculate these men. And I think culturally, we are so used to living under matriarchal rule, we don't even realize, a lot of our men are not realizing it when it's happening.
Correct.
They don't even realize it when it's happening. And they view critique or criticism
As attacks.
as an attack versus saying, no, I'm being pulled on the carpet, I'm being held to an account. I really need to examine this, internalize it, and then come back and do better. As opposed to
And
doubling
that's
down in the
right.
excuses.
That's why I pointed it out, because I'm like, this is what females do. And the people who ran this psyop on you are now telling you they don't know what a woman is. So yeah, they're yeah, we not no Moses generation, sit down. Sit all the way down. No. Going up to the upper
He
room.
said, I
No.
literally watched a video of a Brenda who attacked the delivery driver because the fridge she ordered wouldn't fit through the door. I think I covered that.
You covered it.
Do
Yeah,
y'all
that's what my
remember
boss.
that? That
Yes.
chick was bat crap. I have lived that. I have that chick was rolling around in the grass with the delivery driver, calling him the handy dandy. What did she call him? Handy dandy.
Delivery man.
Delivery man. Okay, let's finish because I
Play
gotta
Sean.
go.
Play Sean.
It's almost tomorrow.
You.
Play the
They
man.
must feel that you care about them and care about their plight. And that's what I do. That's what I endeavor to do on this channel. That's not the point. The point of these panels, the point of my interviews is not for me to be there and push back. See, I'm trying to expose people, expose you to different opinions.
That's fair.
Because we're all supposedly fighting for the same thing, right? We're fighting for the elevation of America, but in particular, the elevation of the Black community. That's what we're fighting for. Now, we may have different ways to go about it. We do. My way may be different than, Chad Jackson's or some other commentator or podcaster's way. But the whole point of the matter is to elevate the Black community, elevate America at large from a biblical perspective. That's the point.
All right, Henry, take it away. Yeah, take it away.
Where my flag?
Oh,
Flag on the plate.
sorry.
No. Okay, so that really illustrates that actually we don't have the same goals. And that's not to throw shade at Sean's sincerity. And that's not to doubt that he genuinely wants to see people thrive and walk in truth.
Right.
But the problem that we're having is not a stylistic disagreement. Then that last statement makes this a theological one.
It does.
Because biblical Christianity does not give the church a mandate to elevate racial communities. It does not.
Right.
The church's mandate is to preach the gospel, make disciples, and call sinners to repentance and obedience.
Right. That's facts. I
We
can't
can
argue with
never
that.
get that confused. We cannot do that
Right.
because biblical truth already elevates people and it's not based on race. So when you add a racial frame into it, that distorts the gospel. And so that's where he is right. Then I was like, fundamentally and foundationally, then we are not on the same page because
Mm.
what you do, what Chad does, what the Christ Over Color crew does, what Vito Vince does, this was never about elevating one ethnic group of people.
Right. It's about helping
And the
us see
church,
who we are in Christ, right?
bingo.
Christ over color. It's the categories and the constructs have been the problem.
Yes,
And so our goal has always been, let's start thinking in biblical categories.
correct.
Right. That's a fair
See,
assessment.
because you cannot have, and again, like I said, that's why I put these clips together the way that I did, and if he does see that, I hope he can receive it. And oh, you know what, Kevin Briggins, don't want to leave you and Monique and Krista out because
Krista.
y'all, what y'all are doing ties into this exactly. The
Mm-hmm.
gospel does not elevate communities by race. It transforms people by the truth of the gospel.
Come on, bro.
And when when we, and as April has shared with the audience, when we're on the road, we are some fools, but we are on assignment. And so after we get through arguing with each other and fighting about the script and Vince's lighting and
And the
April's
cameras and
mic
the
and my
mics.
mic,
And we
yes,
late.
I'm like, yes, yes, and Vince is speeding,
Speeding.
but I'm like, yeah, that distinction, that's a distinction that we have to make. And
Right.
because I think that I don't know if that was what Sean intended, but I think that this made a teaching moment because we lost we lost some great brothers that meant so much to our growth last year alone. But when I
Right.
think about reading a lot of Pastor Vodi Bachum's work, and then we get to Uncle Virgil, we're glad that we still have him here with us in our lives. But they have done so much work to get us out of this racial context of thinking and this ethnic idolatry.
Right.
And so, yeah, we can't, I'm sorry, we cannot sit by and let that go because, yeah, if you're saying that that's what your goal is, then nah, bro, we ain't on the same team.
We might have some overlap, right?
Yeah,
Might
we
be some
may have some
overlap.
overlap.
Right.
Right. But if you're thinking that, because see, now we get to see everything that was said in full context. And so that is maybe why you jump to the conclusion that we're bashing people or that, calling people out is and not being respectful to the Moses generation, because we cannot selectively apply, this protection to a group identity
Right.
and uplift that and give that a higher platform than biblical accountability. And
Right.
we have lived the results of that being done for decades, and the
Right.
results have been a disaster. And so, yeah, it wasn't a personal attack on Sean. We don't know Sean personally. I do know that Sean, for all I know, me and Sean might end up at a Crimson Tide game because apparently we're both
I
huge
think he's a
Alabama
Bama
fans.
fan. Right. Right.
He
Right.
is. He is. And so, yeah, it wasn't like you said, you never sent people from your channel to attack Sean's channel or anything
Right.
like that. But it
Mm-mm.
was when that was laid out, and then here it is, the explanation of it. I was like, okay, we can't do this. We can't try to do this racial framing of biblical Christianity. That's what the apostates of the
Prophecy
apostocracy
do.
do.
Right.
Yeah, so we can't then call them out and then be hypocritical and say, well, we won't call out people that are supposedly in our camp because we don't want to offend our side and not hold them accountable. And so that was the
Mm.
beauty of watching what you guys just did in Virginia, because
Right.
Vince and Chad and Chuck did not agree on everything,
They
but they
sure
did
didn't.
have a very eye-opening and healthy conversation. They agree, of course, on more than they disagree, but it was so much, I was driving April crazy because I was driving down to Fort Lauderdale, and I'm like, this is amazing. I'm
Right.
like, y'all got me speeding like Vince. But because this is what we need. This is
Right.
how you can recognize the mistakes of the past and move forward. And I said something to you that day. I said, what we saw, the contrast of what we're doing and what we saw, this pushback directly against Chad and then indirectly, I think, against you, was that no matter how good of a driver any of us claim to be, you will not get far down the road if you only look in your rearview mirror.
Come on, bro.
And so people that are literally trying to keep us in that framework of thinking, and let me share this with the audience. 5 years ago, there was a young officer in his early 20s that was killed in Selma, Alabama. So that was my introduction to being in Selma, Marquise
Mm.
Moore. And I shared with you, I saw one of the most eye-opening things. I went across the Pettis Bridge, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and it hit me, April. I said, every year, these Negroes get national media up here on this bridge and sang these same songs. And I went
Walking
into the
arm in
city of
arm.
Selma. And I said, this looked like the set for Boys in the Hood could have been filmed here. What are you doing?
It's
You are
that bad.
so stuck. Yeah. You are so stuck on one event in your past, and the way you frame that, you don't even tell the fact that you never had that permit. You conveniently leave that part out.
No, they also don't tell the fact I was reading in Abernathy's book. He literally said white folks didn't even know much about Selma, Alabama. Selma was this town that people would drive through on their way somewhere else. And back
Correct. Being
then,
there, I know why.
but no. But back then in the 60s, it was the place where the learned blacks and the young, up and coming Black Americans, because you had Selma University and
Bingo.
Lutheran University, it was a promising town and blacks were doing well. They didn't really have no problems. Like this man says this in his own words. And they chose Selma. The goal was to see if they could stir up some trouble there in order to get the cameras and the TV and the national media in order to make a case for voting rights. But it
Yes.
wasn't because Selma was having problems, but they purposely chose Selma. When I read this, I was like, these niggas are so disingenuous. Oh, it was so
Right.
bad.
Let me go in my detective mode, April. So you mentioned Selma University, which is the University of the National Baptist. So
Right.
again, that was not by coincidence. And then you fast forward to today. And like I said, I was there in 2021. You go to the local Walmart, and if this doesn't say, if this isn't isn't an indictment on the propaganda and how we're misled by people who look like us, 90% of the black folks in that Walmart was still wearing a mask in the summer of 2021. 90% of the white people were not. And I came outside to my cousin, and he was like, "What is wrong with you?" And I said, "Look."
Just look around.
And he was like, "What?" I said, "Look around." The best way I can explain it in sheer Hollywood mode is go back to Independence Day, and when Will Smith go outside and all the white people on the street packing their cars up,
Right,
and
he
he
like,
turns
what
around,
happened?
the white people, that's how the look I had on my face. I was like, this is 2021. Y'all in here fighting over mask boxes that say on it does not protect you from COVID-19. Can I get a witness? And so
Listen.
but that whole Moses generation, no,
Let
no.
me read this. It says,
Read
he's
it.
talking about Selma. He writes, blacks in the South knew Selma, as an intellectual and cultural center. It was a mecca for our students who could go to Selma University or Lutheran University. It was also a church center, which had produced a number of national leaders, including Dr. D.V. Jameson of the Tabernacle Baptist Church, president of the National Baptist Convention USA, the largest Black
Bingo.
organization in the world, and his son, Reverend T.J. Jameson, presently the president of this illustrious body. It was to many of us the capital of the Black Belt, a place where intelligent young people and learned elders gathered.
And
And
because
look at it today.
that's what I was going to tell you. And you know what we talked about off there on a project I was working on, and they were like, "That ain't Selma." 'Cause it was like, you can go put your drone up there, but you're gonna have to do a whole lot of airbrushing on it, right? So this is what
Right.
happens, though, April, when you allow the deception, to become the playbook, and this is
Mm.
what is accepted, then they don't they come in there and they make money just like they do off of every tragedy that involves us melanated folks.
Right.
They move right along, cash the check, and they leave those communities just like Selma has been left. And you
Right,
want
but
us to
they go
celebrate
back
that?
every year to
Correct.
commemorate the bloodshed. All of the Black elites come down there for the optics, and they leave. The community is worse off now than it was back then.
Absolutely.
Economic stagnation, the poverty rates, the educational outcomes, they can attract no industry there. I'm like, what are we celebrating? What the heck are we
John
celebrating? All we can do
John
is
Lewis.
celebrate. No. All we can do is celebrate that now they voted for a bunch of melanated Marxists who are all Democrat that keep them in the same position they were 60 years ago. If you want to celebrate that, go right ahead. You got your head bashed in for it. Yippee.
That's what I was. That was the last part I had to add in there. As Vince say, John Lewis getting the ass cutting on that bridge. I couldn't help myself.
Crazy.
I couldn't help myself. It's like,
Oh gosh.
but
He
and the
literally
pushback
said that was the whole purpose of them, for them to create a scene for the world, as if Selma was just this bastion of, oh, it was just so bad. How do you describe it as the Black Mecca and all of this flourishing and all of these learned people? I pulled the statistics of the educational outcomes of Selma today, and I was like, this is
is dismal.
sad.
Absolutely.
It's
And like
sad.
I said, to be there in person, then I saw the reality of what you pulled up. You can't miss it. And
No.
and do you know that Ralph Abernathy for that book is hated so much? There is a pastor who still pastors in the National Baptist who will not acknowledge that Ralph Abernathy is family because he knows the backlash that he will get from that.
Right.
That when he
Mm.
released that book, that was, of course, this is I believe that is late 80s.
Yeah.
This I believe, yeah, maybe 88, somewhere in
89.
there. 89, yes. This, when I tell you the ripple effects that came from that, and see, at the time, April, I'm about what, 13. I remember my dad talking about this then, when the book came out, because a lot of the things that he exposed in that, and yet again, 89, we still
Still.
doubling and tripling down on this, and we got the pastor crashing out trying to defend this. But we only giving one side of the story. No, you only
You
gave
give
one
it one
side of the
side of the
story.
story.
You've been giving that one side of the story for half a century, and the results are horrible. Yeah, nope. Moses generation, take a seat. That hashtag take a seat. That's where I'm at, April.
That's where he is, y'all.
Yeah,
Listen, I am so grateful for all of you who have stuck it out. 282 people stuck. This is probably the longest live stream I've done in a while. I
our
started
other
at
no, yeah,
9,
in a
10,
while.
11, 12.
Yeah,
Ooh, Lord, I'm gonna have to chop this up because folks like, ain't no way I'm watching this. What the
that's
heck
what
was
we
y'all
do.
talking about for 3 hours? I'ma chop it out, y'all. I'ma chop it out. If you didn't see the beginning and you like, I'm not going back to watch it, just wait for the clip. Wait for, because I wouldn't watch it either. I wouldn't. I'm like, y'all crazy. I
We
love you, but I don't love
understand.
you that much. I'm like, who got time for this? Nobody. So tell the people, everyone was asking about your YouTube channel. I dropped it in the chat. What's on the horizon for Support Our
Yes.
Shield? Like, tell
Yes.
the people. Y'all, Henry is funny. He really is. And the kind of content Henry needs to make, he's shuffling
Right.
his feet and he ain't doing it. But we gonna fix that, aren't we,
Yes, yes,
Henry?
we are, and this is April's time. She get back at all the hard mentoring that she's endured from me and Vince for the last 2.5 years.
I'm
But
cracking the
yeah,
whip.
it's she is. It's so the channel is at Support Our Shields, of course, and in the new project that is coming April is Cops versus Chaos, and that's where we review how we make April and my wife suffer through all of these body cam videos of these people crashing out and being crash test dummies,
Dummies.
thinking that
Fat meat ain't
they want to
greasy.
play. Yeah, the fat beat is not greasy, and they want to play stupid games, and they will win stupid prizes.
Right.
Minneapolis, what we've seen in the last 2 weeks is just a microcosm. These idiots do that every day. Like I said, the booger sugar is real. And so when you get on that, you have consequences.
Right.
Before that, April, let me drop this on you. Before that, the Friday, we will have a petition in support. I'm pushing back against the dry ice campaign, and so I'm
Mm.
partnering with American Police Officer and Police Defense Coalition. And so, literally on supportourshields.com, we're going to host the petition and standing in support of our ICE agents.
That's
And so,
awesome.
again, if they want to play that game, this is what consistent with what we stand on. Yeah, we're going to push back, like you said. We meet their lies with the truth. So that's what I've been working on all this week is putting that together. And if need be, listen, I'm rolling up in the White House with Don Quavius, J. Trump, and will deliver the petitions in person if the opportunity is given. But that is what's coming up this week is to stand with these men and women because we were together 2 weeks ago, April. It is, did I not tell you it was going to elevate? I
You
told
did.
you what the game plan is. So this is exactly why we saw this behavior coming, and it should not be a surprise to anyone who has supported us and follow everything we do that the NAACP would show who they really are today and get that marching orders from them masters on the DNC plantation.
Plantation.
And they was, hey, yes, sir, we colors gonna go right out here and do what you said to do. Not a surprise at all.
Yes, sir, master. We got you.
We going, boss.
Oh, so listen, I think that's amazing that you're doing that. I cannot wait for you to start doing these reaction videos, you guys. And what's going to make Henry's channel is going to be set apart from the rest because, for one, he gets access to this body cam footage because of the
Correct.
relationship that he has with so many different municipalities and police departments across the country. And I'd rather have somebody like Henry reacting to these videos showing cops, is it cops versus chaos?
Correct.
If I'm gonna watch some police body cam footage, I at least want to watch it from someone who's got a biblical worldview and who's gonna be funny and entertaining and who actually backs the blue and supports our shields, whether it's at the state government level or the federal government level.
Absolutely. I
Right.
like that.
I
We
know
have
you
April do my intro, be my hype woman.
you know, I got your back. I absolutely have your back. So, you guys, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me and Henry this evening. And I don't wore myself out so bad. I don't know if I might do a live stream on Friday. We will see. I'll be dropping some content, but I'm worn out. But until next time, you guys, stand firm, stay bold, and above all else, stay unshakable. Grace and peace.